across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: opposition leaders in final TV election debate, Transport Police crack down on sexual harassment, and Watford maintain promotion challenge.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The second and final televised election leaders debate will be broadcast tonight on BBC One. It's for opposition parties, Labour, UKIP, the Scottish and Welsh Nationalists and the Greens, as Chris Mason explains.
That debate will last for an hour and a half, and then there'll be half an hour afterwards where the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats do get to say their piece. Some might conclude that that is something of a dog's dinner, but I think it's the essence of compromise in that you had all of the broadcasters and lots of political parties all wanting to come to some sort of agreement on debates. The agreement was a rather messy one, but I suppose at least there was an agreement.
British Transport Police are encouraging people to report sexual harassment on public transport. The police say they've strengthened investigations of sexual offences and detection rates are now on the rise. Nearly 2,500 incidents have been reported since the project launched. Arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance motorcyclists in Houghton Regis and Luton. It comes after concerns were raised on BBC Three Counties Radio that the Bedfordshire Force wasn't taking the problem seriously enough. More from Matt Lockwood.
24 police officers and 2 off-road bikes were involved in the crackdown on Tuesday and Wednesday. 2 arrests were made in the Parkside area of Houghton Regis and 2 stolen bikes were also seized. Beds Police say this won't be the last crackdown and they want to hear from the public if off-road bikers are still causing a nuisance.
Police in Glasgow who are searching for a missing nurse say they found human remains at a farm on the outskirts of the city. A 21-year-old man has been arrested. Karen Buckley was last seen at a nightclub in Glasgow in the early hours of Sunday morning. A former councillor who backed the decision to allow a serial rapist to work as a taxi driver in Milton Keynes is up for election. Robin Bradburn is standing for the Liberal Democrats in the Bradwell ward. Luton Rugby Club say the memory of a player who died in a car crash on the A6 last year will live on. An inquest heard yesterday that Mark Davey was killed while racing his Audi near the Wixhams. The 33-year-old had been involved in many fundraising events. Rugby Club chairman Mark Turner says they will continue to hold events in his name.
If you talk to any of the team, you know, he was well respected, but not only did he play the game and he played for our second and third team, but he also embraced what is the rugby ethos. I think he loved the game as much off the field as on it, and well loved by his teammates. And you know, we as a club will make sure that laughter and that ethos is encapsulated in other things that we do going forward in his name for sure.
In sport, Watford are back up to third in the Championship, just a point behind the leaders.
Guardiola goes for goal from 35 yards out, punched away by Dollar. Abdi drives in the rebound. Ahmed Abdi seals the 3 points for Watford. Nottingham Forest 1, Watford 3.
And Dagenham midfielder Jos Labardi has been banned for 6 months by the FA after biting the Stevenage captain Ronnie Henry in a match at the Lamex Stadium last month. The weather cloudy with sunny intervals, cooler than yesterday, a maximum temperature 18 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Ice cream man upon my street. I love your truck outside, really neat. Now ice cream man upon my block. I love your chimes, sir, they reel and rock. Now ice cream man, please ring your bell and play that music that I've grown to love. Now ice cream man, please ring those chimes for me on this afternoon so fine. Now ice cream man upon my street. I love your truck, you know that it's any. Well, ice cream man upon my block. I love your chimes. Your chimes, they reel and roll. And ice cream man upon my street. I love your truck and all that it's well, ice cream man upon my block. I love your charms, are they real and they raw? Well now, ice cream man upon my street. I've loved your truck for years, it's that neat. And ice cream man upon my block. I love your charm. And now ice cream man upon my street. I love your truck, you know that it's neat. And ice cream man upon my block. I love your chimes, they're real and they rock. Now ice cream man, I want you to ring your bell and play this music that I've learned to love. And ice cream man, please ring your chimes on the afternoon that's so fine. Please, ice cream man, ring your bell. We're singing about music that I've grown to love. And ice cream man, please ring your chimes on the afternoon so fine. Please, ice cream man, ring your bell. We're singing about music I've learned to love. Now, ice cream man, please ring your chimes on this afternoon that's so fine. Well, ice cream man, ring your bell and sing a music that I've learned to love. And ice cream man, please ring your chimes on this pretty afternoon, 'cause it's so fine. You like the ice cream man?
Yeah, I like the ice cream man. Okay. Oh, what's going on?
See, ice cream man, I want you to ring your bell. We're talking about something that I love. Now, ice cream man, please ring your chimes on this pretty afternoon, 'cause it's so fine.
That's what we're talking about. The ice cream man. Oh, look, he's getting it.
Now, ice cream man, ring for the bell. Sing about something that I've learned to love. Now, ice cream man, please ring your child on this pretty afternoon, 'cause it's so fine.
I don't even... Is he,
Is he definitely done?
I think he's done. Andy's in Luton. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Ian.
What you got for us, boss?
I thought you were supposed to play music on this channel.
Sorry?
I thought you were supposed to play music on this channel.
What do you mean, Andy?
What was that rubbish?
That was Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers, Ice Cream Man. Did you not hear it?
Yeah, I heard that. I heard it. I didn't want to, but I did hear it. Yeah.
Well, have a listen again, Andy.
Oh no!
Thank you, Andy. Oh, that's made me so... I don't know what...
think he liked that.
No, Jonathan Richman is an acquired taste, but boy, oh boy, when you acquire that taste... It's delicious and sweet. He does the music in There's Something About Mary for if you want the kind of pop way in.
Tell you who's going to love that, my kids.
It's up there with Chunky Monkeylicious. Now, on to, how do we go from Jonathan Richman to something as serious as this? We just do it. We just crash into it. It's something... Well, I experienced this as a young man when I was about 15, 16, and loads of women have as well. Blokes getting up and touching you up on the train. I had this when I was a youngster. It was horrible. British Transport Police have teamed up with the Everyday Sexism Project to tackle the problem, which they believe goes unreported in 90% of cases. From now on... Hang on, I can see the flaw in this. Can you see the flaw in what I'm about to say? From now on, if you feel uncomfortable about someone's behaviour, they're asking you to text 61016.
On the tube?
What if you're on the tube?
Well, you get off the tube. Remember, we spoke about this last time.
Yeah.
Because we thought, hang on a minute, this is a great idea. This is an extension of something they were doing
OK, what is going on?
Well, a couple of months ago, we spoke to British Transport Police about an initiative they had to report antisocial behaviour on trains because they felt that a lot of people felt uncomfortable challenging it in such a confined environment. And we wondered then what the point was of texting on the tube. Yeah. Now, British Transport Police told us back then that as long as you tell them where and when it happened, they can use CCTV to track down the culprits. And it's the same thing they're doing here, but this time they're highlighting a really specific and apparently really common problem. I don't know why I'm saying apparently. It's happened to me, it's happened to my friends. They've even made a video to show the sort of thing that women otherwise kind of chalk up to stuff women deal with. The video shows a woman on board a tube train. Just before she gets on the train, this guy's kind of looking at her in a predatory way. Yeah. She kind of shrugs it off. She gets on the train. Once she gets on the tube, he approaches her and he stands right behind her. She feels him breathing on her neck. She wonders whether that's his hand on her bottom. Oh. And then it's quite clear that it is his hand on her bottom. Oh. He also pushes himself up against her. At each of these moments, the viewer is asked, would you report it? And although the video uses actors, the British Transport Police, and my experience as a woman says that this type of behaviour is not unusual.
Well, and my experience as a young, vulnerable man coming out of a Transvision Vamp concert in Brixton. What are we supposed to do then?
Well, it will really depend on the individual situation at the time and whether a person feels comfortable challenging it themselves. Some women say they would tell the bloke off, they wouldn't care about everyone else. And when it happened to me, I froze, to be honest. But there is a number in that situation where you don't feel comfortable challenging it. It's 61016.
Okay.
If people want to, they can text that number, explain everything that went on, and in some cases, a police officer could turn up at the next railway station.
In some cases, a police officer could turn up at the next railway station.
Yeah, I mean, there are no guarantees in this, unfortunately, but the force wants to reassure people that they will always be believed and taken seriously, no matter where they are. And this isn't just a London thing. The force says that the evidence could help them identify and catch offenders and make sure that officers are in the right place at the right time. It's the same sort of footage that we saw last time. Do you remember when we spoke to that young man who'd been the victim of homophobic abuse on the tube?
Yeah,
that was some time after, but they managed to find that woman.
The officers who might be dealing with the problems, I would imagine they would have to be specifically trained.
Well, all the frontline staff at the British Transport Police have now had additional training to raise their awareness of what unwanted sexual...
They watch the video in an afternoon. Okay.
I guess. I mean, the police say they've strengthened their investigations of sexual offences and detection rates are on the rise. 2,400 incidents of sexual harassment have been reported to the police since this project began. That's an increase of 25%. Compared with a similar period before the project launched.
OK, well, OK.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There is... I've got to warn everybody who's... I love the fact that between 6 and 7, let's be honest, I've seen the numbers, there are about 8 people listening.
This is like the secret show.
This is the secret show, the mystery hour. By mystery, I don't mean what was the year. But what was the... Oh, no, hang on a minute.
Troops posted overseas.
She's still banging on.
Troops posted overseas.
But what was the year? I don't mean... It's just no one listens. And it could be argued... It would be incorrect to argue this, but it could be argued this is the best hour of the show. So we're all part of a secret gang, secret club. We may even laminate some passes. I'll laminate...
What are we going to call the secret club?
I'll laminate your pass.
What are we going to be called?
Oh, nice pass.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, I love a good pass.
What are we going to call the secret club?
I don't know. But the Banchan? Call it Banchan?
No.
I don't know.
Oh, I know. No, we can't call it that.
No, we can't call it that. Anyway, but for those of you in the secret club and those of you who have joined recently because of What's the Story Morning Glory, there is none this morning. There are no punny headlines. There are no punny headlines in the papers. There aren't any. I've looked. No, there aren't any. So we won't. Instead, we're going to play this.
Ice cream man.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Still pretty quiet this morning, and in Buckingham it's moving fine on the A413 London Road through the temporary traffic lights at the total roundabout. In Bedford on the A6 Paula Redcliffe where there's roadworks at Clapham Road, and in Hatfield it could get busy on Great North Road because of the temporary traffic lights that are at St Albans Road East. But looking at the motorways, there's no delay so far on the M25 or the M40, and on the train departure boards the 6:34 train from Bedford to Beckenham Junction has been cancelled. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, thank you, Sammy. 6:16 or thence about. Thursday, the 16th of April. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Opposition parties will feature in tonight's second and final televised election leaders debate. British Transport Police are encouraging people to report sexual harassment on public transport, and Watford remain in contention for automatic promotion to the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Nottingham Forest.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Roberto Perroni on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tip-top etiquette expert William Hanson, who is not a fan of politicians oversharing.
Oh, good afternoon, Roberto. I feel slightly nauseous after that music. Thanks for that.
Every weekday from 3.
Let's talk to Harriet Harman, Deputy Leader of the Labour Party.
We've been in Bedford and Cambridge, and we've had very interesting discussions.
Let's talk cold callers. Do you have a tried and tested method of getting rid of cold callers?
You've got to make up a word before you go on the phone, and so you can fit that word in without them realising the most time.
Saying actually helps you feel calmer. Do you believe this, Sharon?
Definitely. And since I read that, I've been doing it and I'm well chilled.
Roberto Perroni, weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Like a sound you hear that lingers in your ear, but you can't forget from sundown to sunset. It's all in the air, you hear it everywhere. No matter what you do, it's gonna grab a hold on you. California soul, California soul. You see the sun comes up every morning, and if you listen, oh, so carefully, the winds that ride on the high tide whistles a melody. So the people started to sing, and that's how the surf gave birth, I'm told, to California soul. California When you hear the beat, you wanna pat your feet, and you got to move, 'cause it's really such a groove now. It's a brand new kind of thinking in your mind, and you can't go wrong, 'cause you're grooving all day long. California soul, California soul. We have a melody and the beat.
a colonic irrigation for the ears and the soul, Justin, isn't it?
Well, do you know what? The Colonel loves that tune, and that's good enough for me.
Oh, man. What, Colonel Sanders?
Yeah, it was used on a KFC advert about 5 years ago. Well, if it's good enough for the Colonel, it's good enough for me.
I've never dipped into the Colonel. I've never fingered the Colonel, no.
What are you doing at the weekend?
I'm having some Colonel, am I?
Yeah,
I'd love to. I've never done it. I said, no, that's not true. I remember once coming home very, very drunk when I was still a vegetarian. I had about 50 pence in my pocket. I was so hungry.
Yeah.
So I went into the Colonel's and I bought some coleslaw.
Some coleslaw.
Very, very vinegary.
Hey, I did something last week. Very rock and roll. Last Friday.
Vinegary. Very vinegary coleslaw. Yeah. Oh, this is. I meant to mention this yesterday. Yeah, right. Okay. Anybody that thinks that, and there are people out there, Justin. Anybody that thinks that Justin is an egotist, a sad case, a lonely old man, a loser, an idiot, a bell, a cheese, a plum, vain, got no morals. Isn't cool. Listen to this story because this is.
Did you miss any out there?
Oh well, we finish at 9. This story is the most rock and roll story I've ever heard in my life. Justin.
Okay.
What did you do to the Colonel?
Right, last Friday I was back on the disco scene on my Wheels of Steel.
If I wanted to hire you for a party, Just, how much would that cost?
£100 an hour.
Flipping egg! What?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you're declaring all of this to the tax man.
Well, I don't do many of them, do I?
No,
but the ones I do, of course, I declare. So I've done a gig, back on the scene again, felt hungry. I thought, do you know what? I'm on the way home, it's Friday evening. I need to go and say hello to the Colonel. Not seen him for a while. Now, the Colonel shuts at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I've gone to the Hemel KFC. It's 2 minutes to 1. I'm absolutely starving. It's a rush to get in there. I've gone in there. I've said to the lady behind the counter, "Hi, give me everything you've got." And she went, "What?" I said, "Seriously, I'm that hungry, give me everything you've got." So she gave me everything that she had, which was, I think, 7 bits of chicken, couple of wings, 5 fries and a bottle of Pepsi.
And then she was arguing about whether she should give you a discount or not. You cleared the store
I said, well, listen, if I'm going to clear you out, you're only going to throw that in the bin. I want a discount, so I think I got about 20% off, which equated to, I think, 2 bits of chicken for free.
Wowzers.
Everything they had.
Good lad. Was it finger licking good? Did you lick your fingers?
I did.
Because it was that good.
You don't need to lick your fingers. They give you a moist wipe.
They're the lemon ones, aren't they?
A towelette.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, lovely.
Anyway, Justin, we'll talk more about your disgusting eating habits a little bit later on. Is that all right?
Yes, fine.
Oh, right, fine. Now, something... no, that's the wrong story. Hang on a second. Both stories start with "it's something." I don't know. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. It's something that we keep coming back to. On this programme, we've taken lots of calls about off-road motorbikes causing trouble in Houghton Regis. Well, here's some of the stuff. Oh, you know the stuff we've been hearing. Yeah, they know the stuff we've been hearing. People phoning up.
People driving the wrong way down the road. People driving over parkland. People nearly taking out toddlers.
The motorbike that crashed into the car that the young lady was driving, he landed on the bonnet, then got on his bike and did a wheelie and drove off.
And it's not just Houghton Regis. We heard about that woman who lives in one of the outlying villages. Her husband got so fed up of it, he went out and pulled one of the kids off himself. See how bad it's got.
Very bad.
Do we have that clip? I don't know. I don't believe that.
Victoria.
Can we find
I remember her well.
Can we find that clip, Kelly, of Victoria talking about what her husband... what did he do? He pulled someone off?
Yeah, he went out and he got on his bike and went out and pulled the kid off.
Flippin'
Let's not forget that Ollie Martins was in the studio, the Bedfordshire Police and Crime Commissioner, who says that he's got a clear message for you. If you have been ragging around, we're coming to get you.
You say it's a clear message, Justin. We're not quite sure what ragging around actually means.
That means people on motorbikes, on grass, ragging around.
So what, if Ollie Martin sees people ragging around, is he going to pull them off?
No, he won't, but Bedfordshire Police will.
Well, that's good to know.
I don't think they will. I think they have different methods. But we can talk about those
this
later.
is the thing, because Bedfordshire Police have been doing stuff. Yesterday, Phil Calvey, who lives in Houghton Regis, tipped us off about a police crackdown on nuisance bikers in the town. What have the police been doing, Justin?
Well, we put a call in yesterday following Phil's message. Now, the police told us, and this is staggering, and for anybody who says that the police aren't doing anything, need to listen to this. The police told us on Tuesday and yesterday a team of 2 sergeants, 3 3 response officers, a vehicle examiner, and 15 PCSOs that took to the streets of Houghton Regis and Luton.
That's like a little army.
It's like an army going out there, along with 2 road policing officers on off-road bikes that we spoke about recently. So a big army went out. 2 people were arrested on Monday in the Parkside area of Houghton Regis. On Tuesday, 2 stolen bikes were recovered. 2 addresses were visited as a result of reports of antisocial and dangerous behaviour.
Hey, good for them.
Chief Inspector Gavin Hughes-Rowlands, who will be talking to you live a bit later, he told us that we want to reassure the public through these operations that we are taking action on their concerns. He also says that people may not see us immediately, but they have been working behind the scenes. We, of course, were in Houghton Regis, I think it was last week, asking people, have you seen the police? Nobody had, but he's reassuring the public they're working very, very hard, and of course this week they have made arrests.
People will be worried, Justin. They've been once, that's it.
Yeah, well, Beds Police say no, that's not the case. They will be back again with their army if the situation doesn't improve. Chief Inspector Hughes-Rowlands again said that residents should remain vigilant and report any information they have about these bikes. So we had concerns from people saying, what's the point? The police don't do anything. They're saying, no, if you see something, call us.
What are the residents saying, though? Do they think this will make any difference? Well, it's got to make a difference, isn't it?
Well, surely it has, because, you know, everyone's been saying nothing's being done. Well, you've heard there things are being done, but Phil, who you're going to be talking to later on, he says this sounds a bit like a short-term fix. What he wants is more action on a regular basis. He also told us that there is not enough of a police presence in the town. He says that the police station shuts at 5 p.m. during the week and closes at weekends. He wants more of a presence on the streets to prevent this happening.
Well, hey, listen, everybody wants more of a presence on the streets, and that ain't going to happen. But I think it's interesting that they went, and it sounds like they did a good thing, and let's see if they do any more. Justin, the Zombies, She's Not There. Introduce it for me, brother.
This is a fantastic tune and a local tune. We own this band, formed in St Albans. This is The Zombies.
Oh, he's good.
Well, no one told me about her, the way she lied. Well, no one told me about her, how many people cried. But it's too late to say you're sorry.
Dragging around.
How would I know? Why should I care? Please don't bother trying to find her. She's not there.
Dragging around.
Well, let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she acted, the color of her hair. Her voice was soft and cool, her eyes were clear and bright, but she's not there. Well, no one told me about her. What could I do? Well, no one told me about her, though they all knew. But it's too late to say you're sorry. How would I know? Why should I care? Please don't bother trying to find her. She's not there. Well, let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she acted, the color of her hair. Her voice was soft and cool, her eyes were clear and bright, but she's not there.
They actually drove across the green when the kids were coming back from school and nearly knocked women over with toddlers, and it got that bad that my husband went after them on his own motorbike and pulled them off.
Dragging around.
But it's too late to say you're sorry. How would I know? Why should I care? Please don't bother trying to find her. She's not there. Well, let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she acted, the color of her hair. Her voice was soft and cool, her eyes were clear and bright, but she's not there.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's getting busier on the M25. It's building up anti-clockwise between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. And it's also looking quite slow at junction 19 for Watford. On the North Circular Road, it's quite busy between the East End Road Tunnel and Henley's Corner. And looking at the speed sensors in East Hyde on London Road, there's temporary traffic lights at Newlands Road, which is slowing things down slightly. And in Milton Keynes on the A421 Standing Way, it's all moving fine around the Kingston roundabout where there are some roadworks, so expect it to get busy there later on. On the train departure boards, the 654 service from Luton to Beckenham Junction has been cancelled. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. The second and final televised election leaders debate will be broadcast tonight on BBC One. It's for opposition parties, Labour, UKIP, the Scottish and Welsh Nationalists and the Greens. British Transport Police are encouraging people to report sexual harassment on public transport. The police say they've strengthened investigations, and arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance motorcyclists in Hatton Regis and Luton.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Watford are back up to third in the Championship, just a point behind the leaders Bournemouth after a 3-1 win at Nottingham Forest. They trail second place Norwich by a goal difference of just one. Odion Igalo and Matt Connolly gave them a 2-0 half-time lead last night before Alman Abdi sealed the win after Forest went down to 10 men. Here's manager Slavisa Jokanovic.
We opened the game very well. We scored the goal. We have some grey moment in 20 minutes in second half, but at the end we scored one goal more and finished the game. I must be happy with this situation today in the game.
A League Two player has been banned for 6 months by the FA after biting the Stevenage captain Ronnie Henry in a match at the Lamex Stadium last month. Dagenham midfielder Joss Labadie was accused of biting Henry on the hand, his second biting offence after being banned for 10 games last season. Luton have confirmed they will appeal against striker Paul Benson's red card on Tuesday night. The 3-match ban would mean Benson missing the remaining 3 matches of the regular season. And Wycombe defender Alfie Mawson has been shortlisted for the League Two Player of the Year award. England's cricketers will resume on 116 for 3 in their second innings on day 4 of the first test in Antigua. They lead the West Indies by 220. Bowler James Treadwell believes England are in the driving seat.
I think we're in a reasonably strong position as we are. That partnership at the end sort of got us into a decent position. Was it 220 or whatever with 2 days to play? Look to get that first hour out of the way and build a sizable lead and then assess where we go and how long we think we need to bowl them out.
And Hemel Hempstead's Max Whitlock says he's disappointed to miss the all-around competition at the European Gymnastics Championships in France. The Olympic medalist has glandular fever. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh dear, I'm tweeting something that's very, very rude. Kelly, you'd like it. Well, tell the story about the countdown story that's in the papers today.
I mean, there are some programmes you'd think would be more mature than this, but unfortunately Countdown has fallen victim to some juvenility. Is there such a word?
Juvenility. Oh, I like it. It's a good name for a band. Juvenility.
Countdown host Nick Hewitt is lost for words today when 2 contestants offer erection as their answer.
They offer him erection?
Nick struggles...
They offer up an erection.
Valid word.
2 of them. Nick struggles to stifle his giggles as Dubliner Jerry Tynan and Anne Lewin of Brighton, East Sussex, in case you were wondering, give it as an 8-letter answer. But former Apprentice star Nick's blushes are saved when 9-letter recondite is offered by celebrity guest Dr. Phil Hammond.
Of all the punny innuendo words, erection is the one that is the least...
Well, quite. I mean, hairy biker Dave Myers called laughter on this Channel 4 show last year when he came up with Todgers.
Oh, for goodness sake. Now, I've tweeted something, which I've just shown Catherine. Kelly, you'd like it. Watch it. Watch it with the sound up.
OK.
It's a rude word.
It's NSFW.
Oh, NSFW, guys. NSFW. Is it real? At Iain Lee, NSFW... And if you've got kids watching, boy, oh boy, don't let them.
No.
Is that real?
I think it's a Christmas tape. But be careful, if you have got children peering over your shoulder, don't look at it in front of them because they can spell now. The erection
pun has never really done it for me. In terms of puns, I know it's like, I'm going to put up. It's Julian Clary, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to put up a massive erection with my little fanny.
Yeah.
That's what he says. Like, all right, yeah, erection. Okay,
We get it.
Yeah,
We get
yeah,
it.
all
I mean,
right.
it was probably funny when, hilarious when we were 12.
I mounted a massive erection with my little fanny. All right, Julian, well done. We get it. We get it. Horace, good morning, Horace.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Do you know what, fella? I'm amused by the way that Kelly spelt your name.
How did she spell it?
Well, she spelt it, and it's an old-fashioned name, Horace Goes Skiing, fans of the ZX Spectrum, but she spelt it Horris.
Yeah. Well, you know that's not the correct spelling. But
No, that's very much an incorrect spelling. Would you like to educate her and all those youngsters, Horace, who haven't heard that name before?
Just a second, Ian. Can I just turn our radio down because it's echoing in the back?
Please do.
Shall we have a guess at how it's spelled?
H-O-R-A-K-E.
Yeah, curly cur.
Yes, I think it's a popular name. It's coming back into fashion.
Do you? Do you now? I like the name Horace, and Horace Goes Skiing was a pivotal. Horace and the Spiders, 2 pivotal video games. Let's see if we can find a Horace under the age of 70.
Yeah, there's an Edmund I know of, but not a Horace.
I didn't tell Kelly that my surname is actually Horlicks.
Is it Flip? Horace Horlicks? Do you know what that is? That's Horlicks.
That's my full name.
What's your middle name?
I don't have a middle name.
Neither do I. Welcome to the club. Horace Horlicks. H-H. I like that. And are you...
I'm from HH as well. Hemel Hempstead.
Are you... All the H's linking up.
Hertfordshire.
And are you on it? Are you heir to the Horlicks fortune?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
You should check that out, mate. You could be making an absolute fortune of that.
Yeah.
What have you called in for today, Horace?
Well, I've just your nice previous caller was complaining about your music. I think it's fantastic, that music.
Well, did you hear the ice cream man at the start?
Jonathan Richmond, yes.
Oh, Horace, I'm coming round and we're going to play records today. We had an email from Jill.
Yeah.
That ice cream man song was trash. The man could not sing and was an assault on the senses. Please, never play that rubbish again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exclamation marks.
Well, please play it again. I love it.
Okay, Horace.
And I've got a request that Kelly said I might be able to get.
Yeah,
Ernie by Benny Hill.
Oh, no.
What?
That's too sad.
What's wrong with this?
You could hear the offbeats pound as they raced across the ground.
Maybe not today, Horace, but perhaps later on.
All right, Ian.
Cheers, my dear. Thanks for calling. Thank you. What a nice bloke.
I'm going to upset people now.
Yeah.
I don't like Benny Hill. Find him creepy.
Oh, he's good in the Italian job.
No, he's creepy in that.
No, yeah, well, he's creepy in the Italian job, but
He was creepy in that. He was creepy in the Benny Hill show. He was creepy in Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
This is for Jill. Yeah, that's right, Jill.
Ice cream man upon my street.
Oh, you don't know how tempted I am. If I were a younger man, that would get played all morning. What else you got?
The miming dog.
Oh, the dog.
The miming dog.
It's a robot mouth, isn't it?
Yes.
They put a robot mouth. When I saw that, I've never seen it. When I heard about it, I thought it's either a finger up the bum or a robot mouth.
Let it be a robot mouth.
Yeah, neither are particularly pleasant for the dog.
No. More than 60, so maybe 61, TV viewers have complained about the quote-unquote miming dog act on Britain's Got Talent. Broadcast regulator Ofcom, who must be fed up by now. I mean, really. Said it was looking at 30...
Says us who are waiting on an Ofcom, yeah.
Said it was looking at 30 complaints about French ventriloquist Marc Mitral and his pooch Miss Wendy.
It's Britain's Got Talent. It's European nonsense having a Frenchman on Britain's Got Talent. It makes me want to puke.
I think it's just gone politically correct.
Isn't it just?
But those silhouettists that won weren't British either. So it's okay. I quite like those French dancers that danced in high heels. They were good.
I miss the guys from Diversity. The young lad that was in it is 37 now.
He is older than you'd think.
He's 6'3".
And smaller than you'd think.
I met those guys once. We were doing I was filming an advert for a new Mario game.
Oh.
And they basically had loads of nobodies, I mean celebrities, going, I really like it, it's really good. And Diversity were filming their bit before mine. And it's like, it's Diversity, but I got excited because I recognised them, but I had nothing to say to them. So I went, I really like your street dancing. I think it's brilliant what you do. I like it when you flip him around. That was, as I said, it was like going up to Roger Daltrey and going, I really like your music in The Who.
You'd never do that, would you? Did do that. Anyway, ITV said 35 people had contacted it about the act where the dog appeared to sing and talk. However, it emerged that Miss Wendy was wearing a mask over her snout, operated by Mr. Mitral, 61. An Ofcom spokesman said, we will assess the complaints before deciding whether to investigate. They say that a lot. The RSPCA said it would contact Britain Got Talent to ascertain what methods were used. Well, they were concerned about the methods
too. One of two. We think we know.
The act is through to the next round. Mr. Mitral said his pet loved performing. Britain's Got Talent and the RSPCA guidelines said RSPCA guidelines had been followed.
On the subject of erections, Catherine is right. Those sort of words are funny for 12-year-olds. This is from a teacher.
Yeah.
You try reading Sherlock Holmes with students when Holmes ejaculates all the time.
Yeah,
it's a Victorian alternative for said.
Exactly. We used to laugh about stupid
all
things.
The time.
We used to laugh about Eric Bristow. Anyone called Eric?
Why?
Because of that word.
What word? Oh, gosh. Well, the boys laugh at the name William. Sherlock Holmes...
Not just the boys.
Sherlock Holmes... And what was the other fella's name? Bones?
Watson. Who's Bones?
I'm thinking of Bones McCoy.
Watson, Dr. Watson.
Dr. Sparky, it just annoyed me. They were gay, weren't they? That's the thing, isn't it? Just like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Do you know what that's about?
Yeah.
It's about alcoholism, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's an alcoholic, is the thing. But
I'm the same on the Blue Wickets.
Holmes and Bones, they were gay, weren't they?
No.
Come on! I thought that... I've never read a Holmes and Bones book, and I've really got no intention of, because detectives are boring. The only good detective... And boy, oh boy, when are they going to bring this back? The Chinese detective, David Yip.
Oh.
Blinding. His gimmick? He was a Chinese fella. That was his gimmick. Every detective needs a gimmick. He was a Chinaman.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant gimmick.
Shaft, bad mother.
Yeah, well, we don't know. I don't know much about his parentage. I wouldn't like to cast aspersions. But Holmes and Bones were gay.
No, they weren't.
Definitely gay.
No, they were just two fellas that liked hanging out together.
Oh, come on.
How are you basing this just on the name?
Holmes and Bones, yeah. Oh, look at Jill getting all finicky with facts.
Go on.
What the facts? That's because Holmes and Bones don't exist. It is Watson.
I bet Holmes and Bones do exist somewhere.
Here's the thing. If you don't give your kids middle names, you're lazy. You're a bad parent. Social services should be involved.
But you can give them too many middle names.
I don't have a middle name because Lee was my middle name. My name's Iain Lee Rugby, and then I just shunted everything along one. And I was going to give myself a middle name. My middle name was going to be Johnson.
Oh.
I thought that's a good middle name.
Hilarious.
What? There's no joke there. That was actually... I just thought it was a strong middle name.
I like it.
Ian Johnson Lee.
Powerful.
Powerful?
Yeah.
What's your middle name?
Potent. Elizabeth.
Kel spells?
Michelle.
What? Nichelle.
Kelly Michelle.
Michelle.
Kelly Michelle. There is a... Oh, no, there's a Vicky Michelle, isn't there?
Kelly Michelle's in Beyonce, isn't she?
No, Kelly and Michelle are two separate people.
Can you handle it? Kelly,
Yeah,
Michelle, can you handle it?
That's
Kelly,
my favourite.
Michelle, can you handle it?
Well, normally it's Kelly and then just the other one.
Happiness can be transferred to others through the smells we give off.
Oh, please.
In tests when the... oh, no, naughty. In tests when the sweat of someone in a positive mood was sniffed, the smeller developed a happier expression. Chemo signalling has shown before that emotions like fear and disgust can also be conveyed.
Oh, you don't want the smell of fear.
Well, animals can smell fear. Well, it's wee-wee, isn't it, in your pants? Scientists from Utrecht University, Holland, said positive state... I'm from Holland, and I would...
You've got to talk like this.
You've got to talk like this, and I would like to have a smoke a drag cigarette with you, please.
No, you're going South African again.
Okay. A positive state can be transferred by means of others.
I want to go on the slide.
I want to go on the slide. Not until you've done your research into others. Do your research into udders and then you can get on the slad. That's a glimpse into a South African laboratory.
I thought you were saying udders.
The udders! The udders! I want to go on the slad. Not until you have done your research into udders. Go and do your research into udders, then you can get on the slad.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, it's starting to look quite busy from the M1 at Junction 10 for Luton Airport to Junction 9 for Redbourne. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's looking slow from Junction 17 for Maple Cross to 16 for the M40, and it's also busy between Junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. In Mill Hill, it's slow on the A1 Watford Way southbound from the Apex corner towards Mill Hill Circus, and having a look at the speed sensors in Milton Keynes on the A421 Standing Way, there's no delays through the roadworks at the Kingston roundabout yet, but expect some delays later on this morning. No reports of any major problems at the moment on the trains. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 6:45, Thursday the 16th of April. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Opposition parties will feature in tonight's second and final televised election leaders debate. British Transport Police are encouraging people to report sexual harassment on public transport. And Watford remain in contention for automatic promotion to the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Nottingham Forest. Notts Forest. Let's get the weather. Here's Elizabeth.
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. We've lost that intense sizzling heat that we had yesterday. We've seen a cold front go through. It hasn't given us any rain, but it's given us much cooler air. So significantly cooler today. It'll feel much more like spring than summer, but still a very decent April day with staying with lots of sunshine around, and of course staying dry as well. Just the very, very small chance of one or two isolated showers, but I think you'd be really unlucky if you catch one of those. There will be plenty of sunshine, a bit of an easterly breeze setting up as we head through the rest of the day, and temperatures down to, well, I should say up to really, we're up to 16, perhaps 17 Celsius, 63 in Fahrenheit. It's still above average for the time of year, but it's not the kind of 23, 24 that we were seeing yesterday. Overnight tonight, again, it's going to stay dry. We'll see lows of around 5 or 6 degrees, so it will be quite cool. And then into tomorrow, in fact, for the next few days, we will see the easterly winds strengthen. So in exposure to that, it will feel quite cool at times, but, you know, staying dry and settled. There'll be lots of sunshine around, quite chilly in the shade and an exposure to that wind, and quite chilly by night as well, but the sunshine got a little bit of a kick to this time of year, so things will heat up quite nicely and it will feel quite warm, so warm, dry and sunny for the most part. That's the forecast.
Friday, June the 5th is the first ever BBC Music Day, aiming to bring people together across the UK through their love of music. As part of the day, we're searching for local unsung heroes. Do you know someone who's giving a big musical contribution to their community? From supporting young musicians to leading a choir, anyone who's making a lasting difference in your area through music could be one of the 5 heroes chosen to receive a VIP invite to a major BBC music event. Nominations for the BBC Music...
Yeah, whatever. Catherine has just come out with an amazing revelation. We were talking about David Yip, the Chinese detective. I've brought up a picture of Dave, reminded of him because I listened to a play on Radio 4 and it turns out he was one of the voices in it. So I've Googled the Chinese detective. We're looking at a novel written by Michael Hardwick, the Chinese detective from the TV series. It's got a picture of David Yip on it, and you've just gone, that's an ex's uncle.
Well, no.
You went out with someone whose uncle was the Chinese detective.
No, it could have been.
You
turned it down.
Slept with the Chinese detective.
No. Wow,
the Chinese detective.
No.
Could you do that now? The Pakistani policeman. Why not?
Well...
You can do Rasta Mouse.
Yeah.
He solves crimes.
Rasta isn't a race, though, is it?
Well, I mean, technically, I find that programme thoroughly unpleasant.
Do you?
Well, then, Rasta Mouse, we're going to who's eating all the cheese. Let's go to the mayor and find out who's eating the cheese. But before that, let's cut a new reggae record. That's what they do. That's not a bad Rasta Mouse impression, is it?
I was just thinking that for someone who doesn't watch it, you know all the lines.
Well, the boys are Rasta. I'm Rasta Mouse and somebody's stolen all the cheese in the town. Where's the mayor? Rubbish.
Saying that, though, you've just reminded me, Barack Obama recently. Did you see that?
Wagwan, Jamaica!
They loved it!
Yeah, I know, but imagine if Tony Blair had done that. I think it's racist. I think Barack Obama's a racist. Yeah, I've said it. There, I've said it. I've said what we're all thinking. He's a massive racist.
It was the modern version of Ich bin ein Berliner.
Oh, for crying
He was
out.
expressing his solidarity with the Jamaican people.
But if Tony Blair had done that?
They'd have loved it.
If David Cameron had done that?
Well, they'd have loved it.
If Ed Miliband had done that? If Farage had done that? Wagwan, Jamaica. Good morning. Are you watching the video now, Kelly? Oh, are you just laughing at that? I thought you'd... That was the face... That was the face I was expecting from someone who's watched the video of the sweary countdown I've just posted.
Oh, no, I will watch that.
Honestly, it's NSFW.
Not safe for work, but...
But it's funny. That's the face you pulled then is the face I was expecting you to pull when you saw that.
But did you see the Barack Obama one?
Yes, I did.
He was so good.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know if that's appropriate.
I like him. They loved it. Did you hear the uproarious applause?
If he'd have closed down Guantanamo Bay like he'd said he was going to do it 8 years ago, then maybe I'd like him a little bit more.
Oh.
Yeah, guys, it's the only politics I can do, American politics at the moment.
Yeah.
Got my finger on the trigger. I'm ready to make love.
I would so love to see Farage in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Wagwan, Jamaica.
Wagwan, Jamaica, with a big fat one.
Yeah.
Justin.
Yes, boss.
How you doing, fella?
Yeah, I'm okay. By the way, well, no beef.
It sounds like you got beef, mate.
No beef this morning. I was just going to flag up fans of big holes. In around an hour's time, we have a story, and in 20 years of reporting for the BBC, I have never seen anything like this.
It's amazing.
This big hole that has developed in communal gardens in Leavesden.
Now, yesterday you suggested to me that it was emanating some kind of evil. Some sort of ancient evil.
Well, it does look evil, trust me. It's not very often again that I go to a story and I'm utterly terrified. This hole had a presence. A child was jumping on the grass and the parents came out and thought, that seems to be moving. Next thing you know, the dad has jumped on it himself, his leg has gone through it. This must be a 20-foot hole. Well, we're calling it a hole. It's a well. How nobody was seriously injured, if not killed, I will never know.
We'll hear more about this in an hour. Speaking of holes, a widow livened up her husband's funeral by hiring strippers to gyrate around his coffin. There's a picture of the girls. Wow. They're in knee-length PVC boots. One's got PVC pants and a bra on. One has a little skirt on. One could be wearing horny devil horns. I'm not sure. The two exotic dancers in undies and boots even sprawled themselves on the casket to the Maroon 5 hit Moves Like Jagger.
I've never seen him move like that.
Mrs. Iain said her husband had an eye for the ladies and she wanted his last journey to be one he would have enjoyed.
Gosh.
Why didn't she do that for him when he was alive? Maybe she didn't, that's what killed him. Hiring strippers at funerals, this is in Taiwan. Hiring strippers at funerals began when crime gangs took over the Taiwanese mortuary business. They offer cut-price dancers to grieving relatives, get this, who use them to improve the turnout.
So hang on. One, crime lords are running the mortuary business. That could be a really easy way to get rid of bodies, couldn't it?
Yep.
And two, improve the turnout, because you wouldn't go otherwise. I mean,
Speaking of, I don't know, have you got anything for Justin to do? I've got a couple of ideas, but nothing particularly...
the most unusual thing you've ever seen at a funeral.
We did weird funerals the other week. There's another... While Catherine's... Look, I've got a couple of ideas.
There
but
was this thing about the phone going off during the, what's her name, thingy's phone went off on telly.
Oh, yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
When's your phone gone off?
Well,
I mean, everyone's phone's gone off, haven't they?
I've seen many phones go off during funerals, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, I've seen people texting. Could you make that work, Just?
I think so. Yeah, no problem.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, listen to this. This sounds like the worst concert of all time, and I'm not talking about Altman, 1969. A host of the nation... There's a VE Day concert. A host of the nation's favourite stars have been announced to perform at a concert to mark the 70th anniversary of VE Day. Status quo, Catherine Jenkins and Elaine Page.
Oh.
Other stars include Blue...
What?
Jamelia...
Eh?
And Alfie Bow. Wow. Tickets are £36.75. It sounds awful. And will be broadcast on Saturday the 9th live on the BBC One. That sounds great. I am setting my VHS video recorder to record that. Justin?
Yeah,
speak to you in a bit. Ta-ta.
Cheers, bye.
Kelly Betts. Who's this Alex Holmes in my playing order? I've never heard of him. Is he one to watch?
What?
BBC Introducing.
She.
Girls can use boys' names
She is
now.
a singer, songwriter / producer / very talented female being. Her song Heaven has been added to our playlist for a week, and you can play it right now.
There's blue in your tears and red in your smile, and old fears haunt your style. The green on the ground has been and gone, but I'm here all year long. What I learned under the sun, how it was when we just begun, and what I'd give to fix the wrong. Baby, I'm ready now. Try heaven, ooh. Don't you wanna try? Ooh. Don't you wanna try heaven? The stars in your eyes, they hide the truth. 6 months I'll give you to see my heaven is hell. Baby, I'm ready now. Ooh. Don't you wanna try? Ooh. Don't you wanna try?
That's Alex Holmes. You can hear more of her. You can hear more of her on BBC Introducing, and other unsigned artists as well. We've got a minute, Catherine. Saturday, 8 o'clock.
Britain's best.
Produced by Kelly Betts, who's brilliant.
Britain's best loved midday meals. Right?
What?
The French love coq au vin.
Sorry?
The Italians gorge on pasta.
Yep.
The Spanish like a bit of tapas.
What's this for? Mid lunchtime?
Yeah. What do we like in this country?
Oh, Greg's.
Think of the beigest butter you could ever think of.
Cheese
sandwich.
Oh, yes, if you're offering.
Yeah. Do you know
cheese and a little bit of mayo if you got some in there.
Do you know what I like? Cheap white bread. Cheap white bread.
Of course you do, mate.
Plastic cheese.
You don't have to emphasise that, the cheapness of your bread. It's obvious from your accent.
Oh.
Yes. Go on, continue.
Anyway, that's what I like. I like it plain. No. I don't like it. I like it unadorned.
I like a little bit of Warburton's, not because Stallone's advertising it, although it's reminded me I do like the bread. You got butter on there. You got your cheese. You grate your cheese. You get more bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Mayonnaise. Oh, what the hell? Put a little bit of lettuce in there and a little bit of pepper. Cut it as a triangle. Beautiful.
My goodness, you're so posh.
I'm a very, very, very posh gentleman.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 is busy southbound between junction 10 for Luton Airport and 9 for Redbourne. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's starting to get very busy between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40, and it's also looking slow in Bricket Wood on the North Orbital Road at the M25 junction 21A roundabout. In Borehamwood on the A1 southbound, that's very slow from the Holiday Inn towards Stirling Corner, and on the trains there's no major delays showing up at the moment, but if you're heading into London, the London Underground has the Piccadilly line with minor delays between King's Cross and Pancras and Cogbusters. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much. 08459 455 555 if you want to take part in the show. We heard the bits and pieces that we're talking about. You can, of course, I can never emphasise this enough, call in about any old rubbish. If it's something you want to have a chat about, then you're more than welcome to. Or you can text. We'll be doing the text in a minute, Catherine.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we will.
Oh, they're going to do.
Thank you. 81333. Start your text 3CR. We'll talk more after the news. Here's Simon.
Don't talk to me about monkeys.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. The headlines: opposition parties in TV election debate, Transport Police cracking down on sexual harassment, and Watford maintain promotion challenge.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The second and final televised election leaders debate will be broadcast tonight on BBC One. It's for opposition parties, Labour, UKIP, the Scottish and Welsh Nationalists and the Greens, as Chris Mason explains.
That debate will last for an hour and a half, and then there'll be half an hour afterwards where the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats do get to say their piece. Some might conclude that that is something of a dog's dinner, but I think it's the essence of compromise in that you had all of the broadcasters and lots of political parties all wanting to come to some sort of agreement on debates. The agreement was a rather messy one, but I suppose at least there was an agreement.
British Transport Police are encouraging people to report sexual harassment on public transport. The police say they've strengthened investigations of sexual offences and detection rates are now on the rise. Nearly 2,500 incidents have been reported since the project launched. Arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance motorcyclists in Houghton Regis and Luton. It comes after concerns were raised on BBC Three Counties Radio that the Bedfordshire Force wasn't taking the problem seriously enough. More from Matt Lockwood.
24 police officers and 2 off-road bikes were involved in the crackdown on Tuesday and Wednesday. 2 arrests were made in the Parkside area of Houghton Regis and 2 stolen bikes were also seized. Beds police say this won't be the last crackdown and they want to hear from the public if off-road bikers are still causing a nuisance.
Police in Glasgow who are searching for a missing nurse say they found human remains at a farm on the outskirts of the city. A 21-year-old man has been arrested. Karen Buckley was last seen at a nightclub in Glasgow in the early hours of Sunday morning. A former councillor who backed the decision to allow a serial rapist to work as a taxi driver in Milton Keynes is up for election. Robin Bradburn is standing for the Liberal Democrats in the Bradwell ward. Luton Rugby Club say the memory of a player who died in a car crash on the A6 last year will live on. An inquest heard yesterday that Mark Davey was killed while racing his Audi near the Wixhams. Rugby Club chairman Mark Turner says the 33-year-old had a positive outlook which rubbed off on the rest of the team.
They remember him smiling all the way through. Everything that everyone says was his smile, and it was kind of infectious, whether it was training, after training, in the bar, after a game. It was with a smile, and I think that's probably something that's come through not only his time here, but also his personal life as well, and his business life. There was a smile there, and that's how we as a club want to remember him.
In sport, Watford are back up to third in the Championship, just a point behind the leaders.
Guardiola goes for goal from 35 yards out, punched away by Donna. Abdi drives in the rebound! Ahmed Abdi seals the 3 points for Watford! Nottingham Forest 1, Watford 3.
And Dagenham midfielder Joss Labadie has been banned for 6 months by the FA after biting the Stevenage captain Ronnie Henry in a match at the Lamex Stadium last month. The weather cloudy with sunny intervals, cooler than yesterday, a maximum temperature 18 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Morning! Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. So, talking about what British Transport Police are doing in regards to people touching people up on trains and things. Houghton Regis and the bikes. Also, Good and Bad Detectives. Holmes and Bones never did it for me. Got a soft spot for the Chinese Detective, although I don't remember ever watching an episode. No, do you know what? I did watch one episode of the Chinese Detective. Why? Because a picture I drew was used in the background of it. Yeah, that's right, yeah. You couldn't see it. Turns out loads of other kids' pictures in it as well. The Chinese Detective. Well, what we learned this morning. Catherine Boyle used to go out with the Chinese Detective. Beautiful.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Was he a considerate man?
No, that's
Was he gentle?
That's not it.
Was he gentle?
That's not it.
Was he a gentleman?
I don't know David Yip.
Well,
In any sense.
Well, in that case, because I showed you a picture of him and you went, yeah, I used to go out with him.
No, I didn't. I said I used to go out with someone whose uncle went for his part and decided not to.
Sounds like you went for his part.
And decided not to do it because he didn't want to be typecast.
As a Chinese man.
As a Chinese.
What with him being Chinese and stuff. What are the Texans saying, mate?
Texans are saying all sorts.
Hey.
You really want to hear it?
Yes, I do, actually.
They didn't like the Ice Cream Man. Marie and Simpson, please play some decent music. Ice Cream Man, dreadful.
Oh.
Ian, was that Nickelback, says Maff in Hounslow.
Oh, Maff.
Really? I thought you'd like that, Maff.
Matthew.
Zasha says, I'm finally part of a club. I listen between 6 and 7. Woohoo!
We're going to get laminated passes. We're going to come up with a name for it. Loads of people tuning in now. Where have you been for the last hour? You missed the best first hour ever. It's the best part of the show, and you missed a song that has really divided people. I say divided. Most people have fallen on the "it's irritated me" side, but there's still a division.
We need a password, I think, so that we can let each other know whether we were listening between 6 and 7.
Bunchun.
Well, it's too late now. You've said it to the ones after 7 o'clock.
Well,
right, we'll have to think of a different one. I've nicknamed my middle two children Horace and Doris.
Why have you done that? They're both girls, mate.
Says Dave from Hertford.
Morning,
Their
Dave.
real names are Ryan and Kaylee.
Oh, if you don't give your kids a middle name, you're a bad parent and social services should be involved.
I'm finding it really difficult to believe that Justin has never seen a giant hole before, says Phil. What about the one that appeared in Hemel last year? What are you laughing at?
I'm making up my own show in my head.
Yeah. And the best detective, says Snuffers, is Jessica Fletcher of Murder, She Wrote. Funny, incisive, and wears a pair of slacks with a plum.
I would like to have seen her, and it couldn't have happened because, it could have happened. They could have used split-screen technology. Her and Father Dowling Investigates, teaming up with Monk and Diagnosis Murder.
My gran used to love Monk.
What a daytime that would be. He was like on the spectrum, wasn't he? That
Yes. That was his thing.
All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to detail every... Where's my pen? I need a pen. We're going to detail...
You mean where's my pen that I gave you? You
know.
already lost it.
All right, mate, calm down. We're going to detail every detective's gimmick, right? This is what we're going to do. I need a bit of paper. Hang on a minute. So, Chinese detective... So I'm going to write down detective there, and then gimmick here.
Yeah.
Chinese detective is his name. Gimmick, Chinaman. Monk is the name of the detective. Gimmick, Spectrum. We'll carry on with that. There we go. That's what we're going to do.
Poirot.
Moustache.
Tash.
Yeah.
And Belgian.
Poirot is, well, I'm going to go for Tash. The Tash is the thing, I think. We'll do that. We'll play that game. The detectives and their gimmicks. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now. Oh, blimey. Our next guest is a proper detective. I just realised. Trains are hardly the most roomy of environments, and some dodgepots have been exploiting this for far too long. Some thoroughly unpleasant things happens on trains. Happened to me as a young man. People go, "Oh, you were a bloke," but no, I was a 15-year-old naive lad in London getting touched up by some drunk pervert. It was horrible, and nobody did anything to step in. Terrifying. Well, British Transport Police are teaming up with the Everyday Sexism Project to get women to text them if a bloke gets too close and hands-on, something they believe goes unreported in 90% of cases. Richard Mann is a detective superintendent with British Transport Police. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning.
And, of course, it is primarily women, but it does happen to blokes as well, doesn't it?
I think it can. It can happen to all age groups, but primarily we're aware of it happening to women. We've been doing lots of work with some interest groups, national advocate groups, and certainly the majority of victims do appear to be professional women.
What is it about a tube or a train that... I guess it's the close proximity. Is that one of the things that makes some people think this behaviour is acceptable?
I think it is. It's a unique environment, really. There is the close proximity. Sometimes during peak periods, the trains are quite crowded. There's the movement on the train that can be used to disguise or make what is a deliberate act appear accidental. And it's the fleeting nature, I think, of people coming together who are actually quite anonymous, and people going about their business, trying to get from A to B as quickly as possible to do their work, don't really pay much attention to what's happening to everybody else around them.
Opportunism. I wonder as well how many people this has happened to, but they've been unaware that this has happened to them, or they've kind of thought, oh no, that can't be what I'm thinking it is.
Well, I think that's right. Some people try and maybe block it out of their mind and think, well, that can't be happening. But from some of the safety and security surveys that have been carried out, mainly in relation to London, we think somewhere in the region of 1 out of 7 female commuters has been subjected to unwanted, unwelcome sexual behaviour.
Blimey.
And less than 10% of those people report it to the police.
1 in 7?
Yeah.
That's a terrifying figure.
Well, it's a huge figure. I mean, on the spectrum, it's all types of activity. That could include such as unwelcome comments, verbal harassment, leering. But then, we are talking about sexual assault, sexual touching, and let's not trivialise it. It's not touching up. It's criminal behaviour.
Yeah. This text number. What's the text? It's 61016, isn't it? What? How does that work?
Well, if people wanted to make a discreet report, and the aim of our campaign, which is Report It to Stop It, is to try and increase and make it easier for people to report the matter. We understand not all women might want to go all the way down the criminal justice route in terms of going to court, but if we can increase our intelligence, the information, the reports, then that will help us tackle the problem. So you can dial 101, which is the police. You can text British Transport Police on our text service, which is 61016, or indeed call British Transport Police on 0800 40 5040.
And how would it work if I'm on the train from Reading to London, and somewhere between Slough and Ealing Broadway, something inappropriate happens, or if a woman's in that situation and something inappropriate happens and she sends a text, I mean, can she expect the police to greet them off as they get off at Paddington? How would it work?
If that's feasible, we can do that, and certainly there will be a text back asking whether or not it's okay to phone in the circumstances where the individual is at the moment,
I see, yeah.
or what actually they want us to do. But certainly it may be that actually people just want to text anonymously and don't want to give their details, but nevertheless that is vital information because it will help us build up a picture of offending, patterns of offending. And whilst it's opportunistic, we think actually it's not. It's deliberate.
Yeah.
It's not drunken behaviour. It's almost predatory behaviour. And it does seem that actually there's a core number of individuals who are targeting the transport system in order to carry out these sexual assaults.
How long's the text number been going for? And do you have any idea of how many texts you've received?
It's increasing. It's been going now for just over a year. The campaign builds on some work that we've been doing in London under the previous name of Project Guardian, and that's been with the Metropolitan Police and Transport for London. And over 2 years, that's increased our number of reports by 25% in total around sexual offences and unwanted sexual behaviour on the trains, tube and buses in London.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with it, Richard. I hope that figure of just say that again. 1 in 7 women have potentially.
They've reported that they've been subjected to unwelcome, unwanted sexual behaviour. Female commuters. 1 in 7.
Richard, listen, best of luck. Thank you very much. Richard, I have to ask, it behoves me to ask you, you are a detective superintendent. Do you have a gimmick?
I'm not sure about a gimmick. I was thinking of my programme, and it used to be that The Village, where half the population got murdered. Was it Mr. Barnum? Was it?
Oh,
DCI
yes.
Barnum,
Yeah, Barnaby. Was
Barnaby,
it? Barnaby, that was the fella. Yeah. All right, Richard, listen, nice to talk to you. Thank you very much. You're a good sport. Richard Mann, Detective Superintendent with British Transport Police. That figures knocks me for 6, isn't it?
Well, what should knock you for 6 is they're the ones that report it. 1 in 7. I think it happens much more frequently, and people just kind of.
Oh, I bet on the tube. I bet on the tube, and this happens and all. But the tube. If you've been on the tube at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, you are literally rammed in, and you know that there's someone's getting their jollies out of that, and you think, was that bag?
Does he need to stand quite so close? Does he need to put his arm there? I mean, I've had situations as well with the leg spread thing is a thing.
Oh, well, the bloke sits there with his legs wide open.
Yeah.
Everything's on display. Yes.
But I've had a situation where I've had my legs sort of caught between someone else's. And
Rock and a hard place.
Well,
a rock and a hard place.
He's kind of. I don't know. It's just a space invasion thing.
Yeah.
How would you quantify that? How would you? Yeah, it's exactly
and
that.
what I do in those situations, and it's different for me as a bloke, is I then play knee wars. I'm not having that. I take my space back. I reclaim my land.
But the thing is, it's so subtle. You can't. You wonder whether you're
also when
being
they
touchy about it.
Not when they just kind of got their legs open next to you, but when they're opposite you.
Yeah,
that's a power thing.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Having my knees caught between his legs, virtually. Yeah, it's kind of daring me to say something.
Well.
Exactly.
Oh wait, what's the phone number? I forgot.
08459 455 555.
And the text?
81333.
Okay, so far we've got the Chinese detective is his name. His gimmick is he's a Chinaman.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Monk is the detective. The gimmick is he's on a spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Poirot is a detective. His gimmick is he's a tash. He's got a tash.
Yeah.
Holmes and Bones.
Holmes has got the hat and the pipe.
Their gimmick is they are lovers.
No, they're not.
Oh, come on! It's so obvious. What other detectives is it?
Charlie Chan.
Oh, another Chinaman.
Another Chinaman.
But very rarely played by a Chinese man.
Exactly.
Normally played by, Peter Sellers.
Yeah, bowler hat
Yeah.
and number one son.
Number one son.
What was his name? What was number one son's actual name?
They didn't have a name. He was just number one son.
Yeah.
08459 455 555. Detectives and their gimmicks.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's quite busy between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. And the M1 southbound is slow from junction 10 for Luton Airport to 9 for Redbourne. On the A1 southbound, it's building up from the St Neots junction to the Black Cat roundabout. And in Milton Keynes on the A421 Standing Way, it's starting to look a bit busier at the Kingston roundabout where the roadworks are, so expect some delays there this morning. On the train departure board, there are no major delays showing up at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, I've just added... Thank you, Sammy. I've just added a second column to this. You're right, Catherine. You're right. Detective's name. Gimmick 1. Gimmick number 2. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Scratch the rest of the show. We got this. Holmes, his gimmick number 1 is his deerstalker. Gimmick number 2, he's boring. Kojak, gimmick number 1, he's bald. Gimmick number 2, the lollipop. 7:16. It's Thursday, the 16th of April. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. British Transport Police are encouraging commuters and rail travellers in the three counties to report sexual harassment. Arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance motorcyclists in Houghton Regis and Luton. And Watford remain in contention for automatic promotion to the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Nottingham Forest. Oh, boy, Manu, Kenny, stay there.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sometimes in life, things don't always go to plan.
It worked perfectly for 2.5, 3 years till 2 days ago.
He should refund me £1,900.
Which is where we come in.
We managed to get them to agree to come back in to the property on an agreed date.
The JVS show takes on your consumer problems.
I've basically lost the whole lot in administration charges.
And helps to get to the right solution.
I've received a cheque back for £578.
Jonathan, I can't thank you enough. I don't know how you do what you do, you and your team.
The JVS show, weekdays from 9, here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Great, this is great comment from Jeff Crapes on Twitter. Cadfael.
Oh, yes.
His gimmick was?
He was a monk.
There we go. Now, a daytime show with him and Monk would blow students and pensioners' minds.
Double monk.
Double... Nick says, best detective with a gimmick? Oh, man. Inch high private eye.
What was his?
He was an inch high.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh. Why didn't he say?
Manu!
Hey, morning, Ian.
Morning, Manu. What you got for us?
Have you seen True Detective?
Oh, no, I haven't seen this True Detective television series. I hear it's excellent.
Yeah, absolutely excellent. Rustin Cole.
Do they travel through time?
No, they don't. It's set across different time periods. It follows the careers of two detectives over about 20, 30 years.
So are they really old at the end?
Yeah.
Aye, okay.
But it's done brilliantly. Matthew McConaughey just blows it out of the water. It's amazing.
I'm never going to watch, I'm never going to watch a box set or a long-running American television series ever again. I've had my heart broken too many times by disappointing endings, but...
Well, this one is not like that, dude. You need to watch this.
Dude, but you don't know what the ending's going to be. The ending will let you down. You'll waste 6 seasons of your life. Is it?
Each season is a different story following different detectives.
Oh.
So season 1 is it's like a book. It's a different story.
It's like a book, but you don't have to read it. I'm interested. I'll have a little look, Manu. What else you got for us?
So Rustin Cole, his gimmick is he's absolutely miserable, and he thinks the world is a miserable, miserable place.
I like it. Yeah. Well, it is. He's right. It's a miserable, miserable place.
And don't forget Inspector Gadget.
Well, hang on. What was his gimmick? I have to do another 25 columns for Gadget.
Yeah, he was just Penny. His what was it? His niece, I guess, and the dog. They're the ones that helped him out.
Well, no, but that's not his gimmick. Those are his... Oh, Manu, those are his sidekicks. That's a completely different thing.
You can just find all the gimmicks under gadgets.
Yeah, gadgets.
Yeah, there you go.
You can't, we're not including sidekicks. That's a phone-in for a different day, Manu.
Yeah, no, fair
Thank you, fella. Good call. Kenny's in St Albans. Good morning, Kenny.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, boss. What have you got for us?
Good. No, I was just listening to your programme, and it reminded me of many years ago when I used to work for the BBC. We actually did TV episodes with David Yip, the Chinese detective.
Ladies and gentlemen, I did not think this would ever happen to me. We've got somebody who worked on the Chinese detective. What did you do for the Beeb, Kenny?
Electrician.
Oh, right. What? So, hang on. Did you work on the whole series of the Chinese detective, or just one?
Yeah, most of them.
Fantastic.
Most of the ones that involved locations.
What was David Yip like?
He was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Down to earth.
Yeah.
Very nice guy. And he did. It was nothing.
I don't really remember the Chinese detective. It's a little. I'm guessing about 82.
Right about that.
Yeah. I was a little bit too young to watch that kind of stuff. And so the gimmick was literally, he was Chinese.
Yeah.
And he'd go around solving crimes in England.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Do you ever remember Hazel with Nicholas Ball?
Sorry?
Hazel, that was another detective programme.
Do you know what? That's ringing a very faint, distant bell.
Yeah, Nick Ball used to be in it, and I suppose his gimmick was his hair. He looked a bit like Ed Burns, that used to be the young one in sort of Sunset Strip.
Hang on a minute. God, you're an old man, Kenny.
I am an old man, yes.
Hang on, TV detective. Because Hazel rings a very, very faint bell.
Yeah, Nicholas Ball, that was.
Okay, yeah, okay, vaguely. Hello. What other stuff did you work on?
Christ, I'm still working on stuff now.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you work on for the Beeb? Do you remember?
The Beeb, we did. There were so many different programmes that I used to be an electrician, obviously, that went out on location with the truck, and it was great fun. But there was, I did Tenko. Do you remember Tenko?
I do remember Tenko. Now listen, I've worked on film and TV sets. You electricians.
Yeah, well, you electricians don't say it like that.
No, come on, Kenny.
We're the salt of the earth, you know.
No, you're the laziest, biggest bunch of chancers in the TV and film industry. Has the union let you make this phone call, Kenny?
The union's paying for it.
Because with the greatest of respect, I have worked with electricians, and I've worked with some very nice electricians. But there's the catchphrase, of course, is, well, it's not my job.
I know things have changed so much.
Yeah, I know. Everybody does everybody's job. Do you know what, Kenny? There's probably a chance at some point you might have worked with my old man when he was doing stuff for the BBC. Thank you, Kenny. What are you working on now?
I just finished a commercial for Tesco Mobile.
Oh, blimey. And how's it going? Are you getting plenty of work, or is it a little bit tough?
Oh yeah, now I'm 65 last year, so I don't want to do too much of it.
You get those young best boys climbing up that ladder. Kenny, I really appreciate your call. Thank you, mate.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Let's go to Biggers. Morning, Biggers.
Where you going, Scoob?
Flip it.
Scoob, old buddy, old friend, old pal. Where are you going?
But hang on a minute. Oh, flip it. Yeah. Thanks for calling, Biggers. Now, 08459 455 555. They were a gang of detectives. They weren't even detectives. They were just stoners. on the hunt for pizza, weren't they, the Scooby-Doo gang?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Morse spoke only in dots and dashes. Cracker had cheese on his... What on earth are you talking about, David? I don't think you've quite grasped this, David. I don't think you've quite grasped this yet. Have we got any texts before I crack on?
We have.
Give me 3 of the best texters.
All right, then. Here we go. Claire and a number of other people, including...
No, Claire got there first.
No, Dawn got there... No, Anonymous got there first, then Dawn, then Claire. Anyway, they're all saying Columbo with the Mac and the I.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You can't include the eye. Because it was originally offered to Bing Crosby, the part. And he had proper eyes. So I'm not including the eye.
What about the Mac and the hunch? He always had a hunch.
No.
I got a hunch.
Oh, I thought you meant...
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the Mac and the hunch.
No. I'm gonna say the Mac and his wife.
What?
His wife. He was always talking about Mrs. Columbo.
You never see her.
Oh, I mean, Mrs. Columbo.
I don't believe in
Mrs.
her.
Columbo was a great fan of your work, sir. I wonder if you could sign this. Oh, interesting. I noticed you write with your left hand. The killer is left-handed as well.
Dawn also suggests Kojak, the old lollies.
Yeah, well, he's got 2 gimmicks. He's bald, gimmick number 1, and the lollipop is gimmick number 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's Jennifer Aniston's uncle.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'll buy that.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Here we go. Arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance bikers in Houghton, Regis and Luton. It comes after concerns were raised on BBC Three Counties Radio that the force wasn't taking the problem seriously enough. Well, Phil Calvey lives in Houghton, Regis and tipped us off about the police crackdown in the town. Morning, Phil.
Morning.
So how did you find out about this?
Well, I called the police a couple of weeks ago, and they left a message on my phone a couple of days ago, saying they were doing a crackdown that day.
Oh, okay. So they didn't phone back and say, Phil, listen, we can't say anything, but just make sure you keep your doors locked on Monday.
No.
These bikes have been a real nuisance, haven't they? What stuff have you seen?
Well, we've been living there for 2 years, and it's been a nuisance all the time we've been there. I mean, last year I went to 3 council surgeries, emailed pictures, made a list of every offence we heard, nothing was done.
This latest police crackdown, then, that's a good thing, isn't it?
It's good, but it's only a flash in the pan, and they'll do nothing else for a while then. I mean, actual fact, I spoke to a council a couple of weeks ago. We don't have a single police officer, constable, in Houghton Regis. We only have PCSOs.
But then
we're going to get one.
Well, that's the same in a lot of places, though, Phil, isn't it? And having a single copper walking the streets probably isn't going to stop... Houghton Regis is a big place. It's not going to stop the idiots going around on bikes, is it?
No, but they should do more response. You would at least expect a police officer in the town on duty.
Well, I don't know if you would these days, Phil, being completely honest. I don't know. Call in and correct me if I'm wrong on this, please, dear listener. I don't know how many towns do have a police officer anymore. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that's a good thing necessarily or a bad thing. That just seems to be the way that it's gone, isn't it? With cuts and things like that. We're going to be speaking to the police a little bit later on.
Another thing is,
go on, Phil.
All they want to do is catch them and crush the bikes. Maybe give them a fine. Well, if they can't afford to pay, that's a waste of time. And crushing the bikes creates, in my view, more crime because they'll then just go out and steal another one.
What do you want to see done then?
Well, I'd just like to see more officers on the beat, and these police coppers, these 2 coppers on these off-road bikes, get out and about more, not just be a flash in the pan.
But I would suggest, and listen, Phil, if you listen to the show regularly, you know I'm not always on the police's side on things. They did send a load of people, didn't they? This week.
Yeah, they
did. I'm trying to get the. 2 sergeants, 3 response officers, a vehicle examiner, 15 PCSOs and 2 officers on off-road bikes. So they sent a lot of people. And we're going to speak to the Chief Inspector later on. I would be very, very surprised if this was a one-off.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it isn't. I really do. We'll make it a regular thing, but sort of, off the cuff, just without warning or anything, that'd be great.
And I think that's anyway, listen, I'm going to speak to the coppers a bit later on, Phil, and I'll put that to them. But because we were getting a bit stroppy saying, well, why aren't they going out and doing stuff? And it turns out, actually, they had quite a big operation planned, possibly as a result of this show, I don't know. And they didn't want
definitely a result of this show.
Well, the result of people like you, more than anything, Phil, phoning us up, phoning them up, emailing us, and letting us know. Listen, let's keep our fingers crossed. Have a listen in about 15 minutes' time, because I'm going to be speaking to somebody from the police to find out, if they're going to be doing more and exactly what happened this week. And let's keep in touch and let's see how this progresses.
Okay, lovely.
Phil, appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. I'll be speaking to Inspector Gavin Hughes Rowland a little bit later on in the show.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 southbound is slow from junction 10 for Luton Airport to junction 9 for Redbourne, and it's also busy on the M25 anti-clockwise between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. On the A1 southbound there are queues from the Holiday Inn towards the Stirling Corner through Boreham Wood, and also on the A1 southbound at the Black Cat roundabout it's looking very busy all the way back from the St Neots junction. If you're heading into London on the London Underground, the Piccadilly line has minor delays from King's Cross St Pancras to Cockfosters. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. British Transport Police are encouraging commuters and rail travellers in the three counties to report sexual harassment. Arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance motorcyclists in Houghton Regis and Luton. And the Labour leader Ed Miliband will go head-to-head with the leaders of UKIP, the Greens, SNP and Plaid Cymru in a second televised election debate tonight.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Watford are back up to third in the Championship, just a point behind the leaders Bournemouth after a 3-1 win at Nottingham Forest. They trail second place Norwich by a goal difference of just one. Odion Igalo and Matt Connolly gave them a 2-0 half-time lead last night before Alman Abdi sealed the win after Forest went down to 10 men. Here's Watford manager Slavisa Jokanovic.
We opened the game very well. We scored the goal. We have some grey moment in 20 minutes in second half, but at the end we scored one goal more and finished the game. I must be happy with this situation today in the game.
And Forest boss Dougie Friedman says Watford were more clinical.
Listen, I'm disappointed with the result, so I won't mess around with that statement. I felt tonight that we had our opportunity to win the game. The difference was, they are more ruthless than us right now.
A League Two player has been banned for 6 months by the FA after biting the Stevenage captain Ronnie Henry in a match at the Lamex Stadium last month. Dagenham midfielder Joss Labadie was accused of biting Henry on the hand, his second biting offence after being banned for 10 games last season. Luton have confirmed they will appeal against striker Paul Benson's red card on Tuesday night. The 3-match ban would mean Benson missing the remaining 3 matches of the regular season. And Wickham defender Alfie Mawson has been shortlisted for the League Two Player of the Year award. England's cricketers will resume on 116 for 3 in their second innings on day 4 of the first test in Antigua. They lead the West Indies by 220. Bowler James Treadwell believes England are in the driving seat.
I think we're in a reasonably strong position as we are. That partnership at the end sort of got us into a decent position. Was it 220 or whatever with 2 days to play? Look to get that first hour out of the way and build a sizable lead and then assess where we go and how long we think we need to bowl them out.
And Hemel Hempstead's Max Whitlock says he's disappointed to miss the all-around competition at the European Gymnastics Championships in France. The Olympic medalist has glandular fever. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Lorraine.
Good morning, Iain.
Lorraine in Houghton Regis, the home of the off-road motorcycle.
Oh, I know.
How long have you been there for?
Well, I've lived here in this house for just over 27 years.
Right, and what's the situation like?
I might be like living next to Donington Park, You've got motorbikes up all the time. I remember, we didn't have children when we first moved here, and because the motorbikes were going up and down, I had an old age pensioner neighbour who used to run out and take pictures of them and send them to the police. Nothing was ever done about it, and his son was a policeman as well, they sort of saying it as if it's like a bit of a new thing, but it's not. It's gone on for so long, they've never done anything. When I ring up, they say, oh, are they wearing a helmet? Are they wearing a helmet? I don't know. I didn't ask her, But the thing is, my husband and I have discussed it, they could have caught them so easy. We walk our dog down the field, they're all sitting in a crowd at the bottom of the field on their bikes, and my husband goes past and goes, all right, lads. They go, yeah, all right then. He said, all they've got to do is plain clothes, go down there, with a dog. They could nick them so easy, but they run round in vans. How are they going to catch them running around here in vans?
Let me play devil's advocate, Lorraine.
Yeah. Go on then.
Is it really that bad? It's just some young people letting off a little bit of steam. Is it really that bad?
Yeah, it does get bad sometimes. I got really stressed out when my kids were young because we could walk out of our front gate and there could be a motorbike whizzing past that could have knocked my child down and killed them. That's how bad it is.
What, on the pavement?
On the pavement, yeah. I live in a dead end, and there's a pathway. It goes onto the field, the park, and they come past my pavement. They've come past, and they still do it. I haven't got young children now, so I don't tend to worry so much. But I did when my kids were young. But my neighbours have got young children, and that's what's happening. And an old lady, a friend of mine who walks a dog, was cornered by 4 of these bikers with her dog. They come up and they really intimidated her and said, "What are you going to do, old lady? What are you going to do?" And she said she picked her dog up and was really frightened. Yeah. And I said, "Did you phone the police?" And she said, "Well, no, because they don't do anything."
Well, this is the thing, and may I encourage everybody to phone the police and get it logged.
Yeah,
phone the police, because the police have said to us in the past, well, yeah, but we've not had that many complaints, and I know it's because people think there's no point in complaining.
No, I think all the years we have complained, you think, what's the point of complaining? Well, because they don't do, nothing's been done. It's not seen as high priority.
There is a point in complaining because that means that report gets logged, and it means that when we get a copper on and we can say, but people are upset. Oh, we've not had any complaints.
Oh gosh, they could have over the years. They must have numerous complaints of mine that I phoned up and given my name.
I suggest everybody in this region, every single time you see something like this that's dangerous or threatening or intimidating, you phone the police. 101 it, don't 999 it. 101 it.
Yeah, 101 it. Oh yes, I know that. Yeah,
and report it. They won't turn up probably, but report it. Get the stats up. They did this week though. They've sent 2 sergeants, 3 response officers, a vehicle examiner, 15 PCSOs, and 2 coppers on off-road bikes.
Yeah, and that's very good. But as I said to Catherine, they sent them Tuesday and Wednesday. The kids are all back at school. Why didn't they come last week? They were on Easter holidays, and they were going mad round the fields then. It's...
Do you know what? That's an excellent question, and I'll put that...
I wish you would, put that to them. Why did they leave it till they all went back to school?
Be listening, Lorraine. Listen at 8:15, and remind me to ask that question, please, Catherine. Why did they do it? Why did they not do it in half term?
Yeah.
Pretty obvious, actually. I hadn't even thought of that. Thank you, Lorraine. Dave.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right, Dave. Actually, I've decided I'm going for the beard. I was watching beard cultivation videos on YouTube yesterday. There's a guy called the Beard Doctor. He was a hipster. I liked his shirt.
Does he have a medical qualification? I'm
not sure. And I'm going to go for a little haircut today as well, Dave. So all in all, things are looking good.
Well, you've got to keep yourself smart, Iain.
Got to keep yourself smart. You're right. David, what have you got for us?
I've spoken to you a couple of times regarding the off-road bikes. Just a couple of little stories. I sold an exhaust from my off-road motorbike.
That must have been exhausting, mate.
Very. It would be when I tell you what happened. Via a certain website, and the guy had to travel about 40 miles. I wasn't in. I said I'd leave it around the back of the house. Yeah. Just drop the money through the letterbox.
Oh no, Dave!
Only £25. I trusted someone. I know I shouldn't. I may not have been in, or I may have been in, so there was no 100% guarantee, and it was £25. It was sitting in my garage for about 4 years. I just wanted to get rid of it, have a garage clear out. Obviously, you know what I'm going to say. He come round, took the exhaust, no one was in, didn't leave my money. I texted him about 4 times to say, where did you leave my money? Prior to asking that question, he was texting me all the time, are you going to leave it there, are you going to leave it there? And then obviously when I texted him back saying, where's my money, no reply whatsoever. So, obviously it's still difficult to trust these young yobs. Well, I would imagine he's a young yob.
It's only, Dave, yes, it's only 25 quid, you got off lightly, but come on, Dave. Come on, Dave. You're a sensible member of society.
We all learn.
Well, you learn not to. You might as well say just put a sign up saying there's 25 quid round the back by the bins. If anyone wants it, just go and help yourself to it. You silly sausage. Why didn't you get him to pay via PayPal or something?
Because there is a reason. There is a reason for that, but I won't tell you what that is because it goes against the rules of the company that I was selling at.
Dave, can I put forward a scenario to you?
Go on then.
You were advertising on eBay, it didn't sell. You then sold it to the fella made contact after the auction and you sold it to him outside of the rules of eBay.
Excellent.
Ladies and gentlemen, David is a prize plum. You silly sausage, David.
I know. Well, I've learned. I won't do it again.
Good lad.
All right.
Well done.
Another thing, there is a lot of these off-road bikes. My two kids race in a motocross club in Oxford, and loads of stuff on Facebook of bikes getting stolen recently. Luckily, one guy got his bike back. It was stolen from his yard where he keeps it. But luckily, he was always taught to drain the fuel out of his tanks when he wasn't going to use it for a couple of weeks. So there was only enough fuel in the carburettor. So, of course, they stole it, started it, but it only got 100 yards down the road, and it ran out. And then they obviously dumped it because it was too big for them to push, because I'd imagine they must have been young kids.
Yeah.
And it was just too heavy for them to push.
So
they just left it there. So, luckily, it's about a £4,500 bike. He did get back out of it of damage, but at least he got it back and he rode it the following week.
Well,
but,
Dave, what are you, Dave?
I'm a prize plum.
Thank you very much indeed, David. Prize plum, silly sausage. Well done. Well done. I was about to ask, I don't quite get the buzz of motorbikes, but my boy who's 5, he's learnt how to ride a bicycle. And we went out for a bike ride over in like fields near us. And the youngest was on the scooter and the eldest was on his bike. It was brilliant. He was loving it. He's so good. We need to get a bigger bike. And then we stood at the top of a little hill. And they're playing kicking the ball down and then trying to kick the ball back up this hill. And then my boy went, imagine, Dad, imagine if I was big enough to go down there on my bike. I said, you are.
Thank you.
You know what? I said, you are. He went, no. If you feel confident going down there, go down there. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But you have my permission to go down that hill on your bike.
Brilliant.
And he was like... And he got really nervous and really excited. And he's stood at the top of this. It's not even that big a hill. It's quite big, actually, for him. He's only 5. He stood at the top of the hill, terrified. He's going, I don't want to do it! I was going, don't do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. You do it when you're ready. I don't want to do it! I'm going to do it! And he went down. And the look at he's all the way down, he's screaming. And at the end, he just burst into hysterics. The first time he's ever been down a hill on a bicycle.
Brilliant.
And he did it again. Then the third time, he bottled out. And then the youngest had to do it on his scooter, but that was a magical moment.
That is proper joy. I completely get the motorbike thing. I've been on the back of motorbikes.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
You like it purring between your legs as you ride around the park.
It takes a bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
So when they stop, you don't bang heads together with your helmets on.
Never bang helmets.
But by the end, I was pretty good. I was doing that whole thing where I didn't look like I was holding on.
So this was with your boyfriend, was it?
Well,
did you ever pull him off, or
it was with my boyfriend's best mate, actually.
Did you pull him off? Because it can be. Because the thing is, I've ridden pillion. You don't hold the cyclist.
Well, yeah, that was a mistake I made.
Exactly, that would pull him off. You hold you hold your seat.
Yeah.
I have ridden on the back of. I've said this before of these taxi motorbikes, and they're driven by ex-coppers. And I used to be very relaxed. It'd be very early in the morning, so I'd be very, very relaxed. And I'd go, it's so scary. And the copper would go, don't worry about it, it's fine. And I'd had one copper say, ex-copper.
Can you let go of me?
No. We're on a flat bit of road, straight bit of road. He said, do you want to see how fast this can really go?
Oh!
I went, I don't really, but yes, I do. We did a ton. I know, I'm not condoning it, it's illegal. A long time ago.
It wasn't in this country.
It was. No, it was.
Shh.
It was in London. London, Argentina.
Yeah.
And I did it with my eyes closed. It was the most terrifying, yet exciting, yet exhilarating, yet terrifying experience of my life.
It's brilliant. I think if I didn't have children and someone who would resent me spending my money on it, I would definitely get a bike.
I want to be in a sidecar.
Yeah, you don't see many sidecars now.
My great auntie Lena used to be the passenger in the sidecar. They used to get the whole family in there. So there'd be Uncle Lawrence on the bike, I think it was an old Triumph, Auntie Lena and the 2 kids in the sidecar, and that was their family vehicle.
We got some great detective stuff coming in, by the way.
Go on.
April says, Rosemary and Thyme, they were gardeners. Miss Marple, gimmick, nosy old lady that drank tea. Jill says Magnum had a swanky car and a big moustache. I'm not including that. I don't think... Well, okay.
I always think of the shirts first.
Robbie says, why didn't you start this in the magic hour between 6 and 7?
I don't think I've ever watched a detective programme.
What?
No, ever.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah.
Magnum, moustache. Taggart, accent. Ironside, wheelchair.
Are you naming drinks?
No, these are detectives. Knight Rider, talking car.
Tell you what everyone's missing out.
Yeah.
Jane Tennyson, woman.
I don't know who that is.
Prime suspect. Helen Mirren.
Minder,
Angry woman.
sarcasm. Arthur, the last time you made an innocent inquiry, you were still waiting for your teeth to come through so that you could start lying through. Minder's not a
Minder wasn't a
detective, mate.
detective.
He was a minder.
They were both a little bit dodgy, weren't they?
He runs out of steam towards the end there. Good start there, Robbie, but runs out of steam.
Yeah.
Any Texas?
Yeah, loads of those. And Houghton Regis as well.
We'll go through the list in a little bit. We're doing detectives and their gimmicks, gimmick 1 and gimmick 2 for some of them.
Yeah.
Does it? I don't think it necessarily makes a better detective if there's a second gimmick.
Someone suggested the singing detective.
Oh, skin. Yeah. No.
Anyway, on the subject of bikes, Houghton Regis had better get to the root cause of these nuisance bikers. If you just crush the bikes or find them, what do you think they'll get up to next? I can't see them sitting and quietly knitting at home. And you can't lock them up whilst paedophiles are let free. Wow, that took a turn, didn't it? I wasn't expecting that one.
Who's that from?
Marcia in Bedford.
Where are paedophiles let free? Although saying that, there is an interesting case that's not going to be pursued that's coming up because the CPS don't think it's worth pursuing.
Consult Twitter for more details.
Yes.
Also, we got this one.
All right, thank you.
According to Ollie Martins, this is from Pat, it's a really long one. According to Ollie Martins, Houghton Regis has 4 PCSOs assigned. That means no police officers, no effective policing in our town. So what does he replace PCSOs with police officers?
Well, according to Ollie Martin, all these bikes are
ragging around.
They are.
Yeah. Well, we spoke to that gentleman earlier on. The concept of a copper in every town, I'm afraid, well, it doesn't exist anymore, does it? Really? 08459. You all right, love?
No, I've got a frog in my throat.
Can I come and hit you really hard in the jaw?
I wish someone would.
Thank you.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's busy on the M1 southbound around junction 10 for Luton Airport turning and 9 for Redbourne. On the M25 anti-clockwise, that's very busy from junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. And it's busy in Mill Hill on Watford Way, southbound from the Apex corner to Mill Hill Circus. In Club Hill on the A6 Bedford Road, that's very slow between the Back Street and the A507. And at the Black Cat roundabout on the A1 southbound, there are delays from the St Neots junction. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 7:46, Thursday the 16th of April. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. British Transport Police are encouraging commuters and rail travellers in the Three Counties to report sexual harassment. Arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance motorcyclists in Houghton Regis and Luton. And Watford remain in contention for automatic promotion to the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Nottingham Forest. Coming up, Justin Dealey will be looking down a big hole. Before that, let's get the weather. Here's Elizabeth.
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. It's going to feel an awful lot cooler today than it did yesterday by around 5 to 8 degrees for many areas. There is a bit of cloud around today, but some sunshine developing and staying dry as well, with just a small chance of 1 or 2 isolated showers, but I think you'll be unlucky. So the big difference with today and yesterday is the temperature. We've seen a cold front go through overnight. It didn't give us any rain, but it does mean that now we are in the cooler air. So whereas yesterday we got up to 24 degrees, I think today we'll be lucky to get up to 15 or 16 Celsius. Some places may well see 17 or 18 perhaps, which will be 64 in Fahrenheit. So a big temperature difference today, but still pretty nice April's day with lots of sunshine around. A bit of an easterly breeze setting up too today. Overnight tonight, then we'll see temperatures drop down to 5 or 6 degrees. So a little bit chillier than it was last night, but staying dry. And over the next few days, it's staying dry and settled. There'll be some sunshine around, temperatures at or just above average for the time of year. So all in all, it's looking pretty nice still for April, but without those sizzlingly high temperatures that we saw yesterday. That's the forecast.
The general election on the BBC.
On Thursday, the 16th of April, I'm going to be joined by the party leaders for a live televised election debate. Leaders from Labour, the SNP, Plaid Cymru, UKIP and the Green Party. Our studio audience are going to be asking the questions, and the party leaders will debate their policies and election promises, live on air.
Election 2015 on the BBC, making it clear.
Join me, David Dimbleby, for the BBC Election Debate 2015, tonight at 8, live on BBC One and BBC One HD.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Christine, what you got for us?
Hello. We're hearing Kelly saying that she'd always wanted to go in a sidecar.
Oh, yeah.
It brought back memories from me, because we used to live in Hastings. This was just after the war.
Yeah.
And my uncle's dad was a Spitfire pilot. And when he used to come down to see us on leave, he used to bring 3 or 4 of his mates with him. And they had a great big old bike. I can't remember the name of what sort it was, and a sidecar. And they all used to pile in this and come down to see us. And they used to decide they were going to go on a pub crawl and take me with me. And they used to put me in right at the end of the sidecar.
How old were you?
About 3 or 4.
Well, that must have been the most exciting thing in the world.
It was a bit smelly because I was where all the feet were.
Aye.
But, yeah, and I don't think I'd drunk so much lemonade and crisps in my life.
How many people were in the sidecar then?
There was four blokes
really?
and me.
I thought sidecars were tiny.
Well, this one wasn't. Well, perhaps it was, I don't know, but it didn't seem to be that small.
I always thought it was for the missus, you know, that the husband would ride the motorbike and the missus was allowed to ride in the sidecar.
Well, perhaps it is nowadays, but in those days, you know, it was a big old thing like the bike was.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's funny. It was so funny, you know, and four great big blokes and me stuffed down the end of this.
And very brave of them, Christine, to feed you lemonade and crisps, because there's a strong chance you could have puked up in there.
No, I was fine. I loved it.
I bet you did. I bet as a 4-year-old it was wonderful.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Christine,
especially being with my uncle, because I adored him.
Oh, bless him. That's a brilliant story. Thank you, Christine.
Okay.
Appreciate your time. Thank you. I would love to have a go. Yeah, every now and then you'll see a sidecar, motorbike and sidecar, and you go, oh, look! Motorbike and sidecar! You kind of get the middle class equivalent of that is bicycles with trailers in, either trailers in the back or kind of things in the front that the kids sit in.
But the trailers in the back, I mean, would you want to be that kid? It's really low level.
Low level. You're in a little bit of wood with a bit of plastic over the top, and you're going through a really busy town.
I used to have a little seat on the back for my eldest when she was a toddler, and that was frightening. I mean, it's bad enough being on a bike by yourself, but when you're responsible for a child on there as well, oh, no thanks.
I would love... These are the 2 things I want to do in vehicles, and then I can retire. 3 things. I want to... Get this, Justin. These are 3 things I want to do.
Go on.
I want to ride in a sidecar, wearing a leather helmet and goggles. You got it. You got it, Kelly. You got it.
Oh, you're mad.
I want to do that. Yeah. I want to sit in a Ford Capri, be the passenger, and I want it to go up on 2 wheels and go through a narrow alleyway.
Through boxes?
With the boxes. I'm not so... It's going through the alleyway. You go up on a ramp, you go through the alleyway on 2 wheels. I don't want to be a wing walker.
Oh, no.
Oh, mate, seriously?
You know what a wing walker is?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what a wing walker is, Kels?
No.
It's a fella or a lady these days.
Again, helmet and goggles required.
Where helmet and goggles, you go on a biplane and you stand on top of it.
Oh.
As it flies. I want to be a wing walker.
Oh, no thanks.
I've got a great idea.
Go on,
okay.
Yeah, go on, mate.
For number 3 there, why don't you broadcast a breakfast show live from a wing?
Because we're not allowed to swear on the radio.
Well, just make sure you don't swear then.
Well,
Simple.
He's the BBC version. We can go live to Wing.
And walk there. No, I don't. Actually, I genuinely don't fancy the third. I get a very upset head on the waltzers at the fair. I find them very confusing.
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm an artist. I think I'm a very sensitive brain, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now listen. Holes.
Big
There are
holes.
pictures on Facebook, pictures on Twitter. The funniest response to this yesterday on Twitter was there's a massive hole, right, appeared in someone's garden, and it's got some tape over it, and someone tweeted, yeah, nice one, Josh, you could have done a bit of a better job with the tape. Giant hole has been discovered in the garden of a block of flats in Leavesden in Watford. We say hole, this is a well.
Yeah.
The hole has been covered up using deck chairs.
Yeah. Incredible,
Justin,
isn't it?
you went there. Tell me what happened. Come on.
This is Comic Close in Leavesden in Hertfordshire. I've been to meet Stephen Kempster, who discovered this hole/well. Utterly terrifying. Now, for those that do see the pictures on our Facebook page this morning and our Twitter page as well, yes, look at them, but trust me, they don't do this justice at all. Just this huge hole in the communal garden area there. It's got to be 20 foot. I'd planned to go there and do the interview from the bottom of the hole. When I got there, I completely changed my mind.
You bottled it, mate?
I did. I did.
There's no shame in being a massive bottler.
No, yeah, I admit I bottled it. So I met Stephen, and maybe people have got similar stories. I don't know. Here's what happened when I went to the hole/well. Stephen, wow. We're standing by this hole. I'm actually going to stand back because now we've pulled everything away. That is utterly terrifying. It must be a good 20 foot deep at least. I was actually going to go down there. No chance.
No, you've got no hope of going down that. If anyone fell down that, they'd be seriously injured, or even, obviously, a little child would be dead.
What happened?
Firstly, it was a neighbour's little girl running up and down the grass. And it was just bouncy, so they thought it was fun to run past. She went to the shops with her mum, and my little girl decided to do the same thing, but instead of running, she started to bounce just where it was. I see the ground start sinking further and further down, and I thought, it doesn't look good. So I moved my little girl out of the way and my little boy. I decided to have a jump, which I wouldn't recommend, and as I jumped, my foot went straight through it. At first, we thought we just found a rabbit hole or something silly like that. So I tried sticking my arm down, I lifted the flap of grass that my foot went through over, and I thought, that's not good, I cannot see the bottom of this. Yeah. So I lifted it a bit further and stuck my arm in, it went right to my shoulder. My boy made a joke about it, thought he found the Goonies hole.
Yeah. Well, it does look like something out of the Goonies. Yeah. You're half expecting Chunk to come up there and say,
hey, you guys.
Yeah.
Which would be quite funny. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend if anyone finds a soft pat in their garden to bounce on it at all. Unless you're like me and a bit silly and you want to injure yourself.
But who in their right mind would think that you'd have a hole, you can't even see to the bottom, a hole that deep in a garden? You wouldn't expect something like that to happen, would you?
No, not at all. And we've lived here 13 years. So you can imagine we played and been in this garden for 13 years and never known this hole was here. So whether they just covered it with a bit of plywood and then flopped the grass over it, and through years it's deteriorated and broke away, which appears to be what's happened.
How old's your girl?
She's only 4, just turned 4 in March, so she's only a little girl.
So what next? Because at the moment you've got deck chairs and some plywood, which you, the residents, have put over this hole to keep it safe. What have the management company done about this?
In all honesty, nothing. They basically said it's not their responsibility. How they can say that when we pay ground rent anyway?
How much are you paying a month?
I believe it's £90. That's 12 flats of £90.
And they're saying it's not their responsibility.
Yeah, it's quite unbelievable, really. So what's ground rent for? What do you pay ground rent for?
But also, people must be scared, because if you and other people here have got young children, these communal gardens here, quite a big area of grass, so you must be now worried about letting your children play out here, because there could be more of these.
Yeah, they're not allowed to play out here at the moment, unfortunately. Bearing in mind we're getting really nice weather at the moment, we can't let them out here, just purely for what you just said. Yeah. If there's one hole here, is there another one anywhere else?
Seriously, this is quite extraordinary. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in my life. I really haven't. When you took the plywood away, I'm genuinely shocked. Yeah. And it's not often I say that.
Yeah, to be honest, I was very shocked when I took the flap of grass from my foot where it went through away and then put the camera down and took a photo. When I looked at my own photo, I was like, my God, if my child would have fallen down that, or even the next door neighbour's child who was running on it first.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we let them play out here and we can hear them. Yeah. We're not here with them.
Yeah.
Because it's quite enclosed.
Yeah.
All we would have heard was one big scream and then maybe nothing, because if they get to the bottom of that, it would have been it.
Well, I mean, he should definitely at least get a discount on ground rent, as there is less ground to be renting.
I know.
Ian says on Twitter, it's not a well. Have you seen Aliens vs Predator? It's a tunnel to an ancient temple. Don't go down there, it'll kick off. It'll be interesting. I wonder if has anyone lowered a camera with a torch on it, or a night vision camera, and lowered it down there?
Or a drone.
Yeah, we could fly our drone down. It'd be interesting to see exactly how far it goes down and if there is anything in there.
Well, it goes down, I would say, about 20 foot. I mean, after that interview, what I did to get the pictures was to literally put my head down the hole and put my arm down as far as it would possibly go.
You, mate. Very brave
absolutely, with the flash on. At the bottom, you can see it with the flash on. It looks like it's concrete. So to me, it looks like a well. But as Stephen was saying, he's lived there for 13 years. Now, that could have been a really wet day. His child would have gone through that, and I wouldn't fancy my chances jumping down that hole, let alone a 4-year-old child.
Justin, excellent stuff, mate. Speak to you later.
Thank you.
Ta-ra. 08459 455 555. We've just had one more suggestion. Forgive me, I can't remember who this is from. On detectives and their gimmicks. Bergerac, he has an old car and he's in Jersey. The fella also said he was an alcoholic.
Yeah, I don't remember that bit.
Was Bergerac an alcoholic?
That went over my head if he was.
Hey, no, he was. I think he was Mr. Lover, wasn't he?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the motorways, the M1 southbound's very busy from junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road and 9 for Redbourne, and the M25 anti-clockwise is slow from junction 19 for Watford towards junction 15 for the M4. In Amersham on the A355, it's very slow now between the A413 at Amersham and the A40 London Road at Beaconsfield, and in Stevenage on Broadhall Way, that's looking quite busy in both directions between the football ground and the A1M. On the train lifts, there's no major delays showing up at the moment, but in London, the Piccadilly line has minor delays between King's Cross, St Pancras and Cockfosters. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much. So detectives and their gimmicks. If a detective has two gimmicks, does that necessarily make them better, or does it muddy the waters a little bit? 08459 455 555 and your sidecar stories, please. Let's get the news now. Here's Simon Oxley on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. The headlines. Commuters urged to report sexual harassment. Police crack down on nuisance motorcyclists. And Watford maintain promotion challenge.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
British Transport Police are encouraging commuters and rail travellers in the three counties to report sexual harassment. The police say they've strengthened investigations of sexual offences, and nearly 2,500 incidents have been reported since the project launched. Detective Superintendent Richard Mann is from British Transport Police.
From some of the safety and security surveys that have been carried out, mainly in relation to London, we think somewhere in the region of 1 out of 7 female commuters has been subjected to unwanted, unwelcome sexual behaviour. And less than 10% of those people report it to the police.
Arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance motorcyclists in Houghton Regis and Luton. It comes after concerns were raised on BBC Three Counties Radio that the Bedfordshire Force wasn't taking the problem seriously enough. Over 20 officers, including 2 on specially commissioned off-road bikes, took part in this week's operation. Houghton Regis resident Phil Calvey hopes it's not a one-off.
It's good, but it's only a flash in the pan, and they'll do nothing after a while then. I mean, actual fact, I spoke to a council a couple of weeks ago. We don't have a single police officer, constable, in Houghton Regis. We only have PCSO.
The Labour leader Ed Miliband will go head-to-head with the leaders of UKIP, the Greens, SNP and Plaid Cymru in a second televised election debate tonight. David Cameron and Nick Clegg aren't taking part in the programme, which is being broadcast by the BBC. A former councillor who backed the decision to allow a serial rapist to work as a taxi driver in Milton Keynes is up for election. Robin Bradburn is standing for the Liberal Democrats in the Bradwell ward. More from Toby Friedner.
Mr Bradburn sat on 2 committees that allowed convicted rapist Nadeem Kiani a taxi licence. When the news broke last year, it led to 2 councillors resigning from their position on the licensing committee and Mayor Saban Shafiq eventually resigning as a councillor. Mr Bradburn wasn't councillor at the time, having lost his seat during last May's election, but he now faces questions over his involvement because he's chosen to stand again.
Police in Glasgow who were searching for a missing woman have found human remains at a farm to the north of the city. A 21-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the death of Irish student Karen Buckley. More than 500,000 families will find out this morning if their child has got a place at their primary school of choice. In some areas, the pressure on school places has increased significantly because of the rising birth rate and immigration. In sport, Watford are back up to third in the Championship, just a point behind the leaders.
Guardiola goes for Cole from 35 yards out, punched away by Donna. Abdi drives in the rebound! Ahmed Abdi seals the 3 points for Watford! Nottingham Forest 1, Watford 3.
And Dagenham midfielder Joss Labadie has been banned for 6 months by the FA after biting the Stevenage captain Ronnie Henry in a match at the Lamex Stadium last month. The weather cloudy with sunny intervals, cooler than yesterday, a maximum temperature 18 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon. Well, the shows, as the best ones do, I find, has taken several twists and turns. We're compiling a list of detectives and their gimmicks and celebrating the magic of the sidecar. And if anyone's ever been a wing walker, that's got to be... I was joking when I said I wanted to do that. That's got to be the most terrifying, stupid thing to do in the world, isn't it? How are you strapped on? Is it boots that are built onto the plane and you just put the boots on? Because then you're reliant on laces, aren't you? You're reliant on laces to keep you on top of a plane. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
You can text as well, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Have we got any?
Yeah, loads.
Go on.
Kojak and his lollipop and
Got that.
Petrocelli building his house. Petrocelli? Who's that? That's from Andy.
Who was that played by... No, who was George Peppard? Who did he play?
George Peppard.
George Peppard. Who did he play?
Hannibal.
He played Banachek.
Ah.
But I remember the name Petrocelli. I don't know what... I can't verify that was his gimmick.
No.
We'd need someone, a second authority, to back that one up.
Wow.
What was Banachek's gimmick then?
That he was George Peppard?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Diane's in Hemel. Good morning, Diane.
Hello.
Hello, Diane. What you got for us?
Sidecar story.
Oh, man alive. You've not been in one, have you?
No.
Oh.
But this, I don't know how to tell it without laughing. Back in the early 60s, my husband worked for a building firm, and the boss used to pick him up with his motorbike, but the sidecar was a chest of drawers strapped on, and him strapped in it.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. Why have Catherine? Has she passed our rigorous test? Why have you let a lunatic liar on the radio?
Well, because it sounded like something from Last of the Summer Wine.
Hang on. So a chest of drawers?
Yeah, that was the sidecar.
Oh, right. Okay. So hang on. It was turned on its back. I'm assuming, was it? So the chest of drawers would be lying on its back, the drawers removed, so it was like a hollow wooden box.
Yes.
And how was it attached to the motorbike?
It just strapped on. I don't know how it was strapped.
And what did it have underneath it? Roller skates or something?
Skateboard.
That's brilliant.
And mad.
I mean, there was no crash helmets, anything in them days, so, you know.
and your husband, did he ever question this? Was he quite happy to do this?
I think it was just off they go laughing.
You know why we can't do that now?
Oh, no.
Is Europe and...
I think it's just gone politically correct.
Of course it has. That's the reason we can't do that now.
The big question is, where did this guy keep his socks?
And your husband was fine? He was never seriously injured in this ridiculous contraption?
No.
Diane, that's such a wonderful story.
That's
Thank
from
you.
a cartoon, isn't it? That's not real.
Well, the thing of... By the way, if you've ever used furniture as a mode of transport, 08459 455 555. They used to put babies in drawers, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's a common thing. In fact, did we do it to our boy? I don't know. It's still quite a common thing if you're in a hotel to put a baby in a drawer.
Is it?
Yeah, people still put babies in drawers. You put a bit of bedding in there, I don't know, do they?
You don't close the drawer?
Well, my dream of riding in a sidecar would be to be in the sidecar and you come to a fork in the road.
Oh, yeah.
And then the sidecar comes off.
Yeah.
The motorcyclist doesn't notice. Me in the sidecar be going, blimey! And then 3 miles later down the road, you meet up and join up again.
Brilliant.
And the motorcyclist doesn't know that it's happened at all. Huh?
I've seen that happen in documentaries.
Yes, you have. Those black and white documentaries starring Norman Wisdom. 08459 455 555. British Transport Police have teamed up with the Everyday Sexism Project to tackle the problem of people being, sexually abused, sexually harassed, touched up, what do you want to call it, on public transport. From now on, if you feel uncomfortable about someone's behaviour, you can text 61016 and you get a response from the police. And in certain circumstances, they may even meet you. Christiana Rickson is a policy manager with the Susie Lamplugh Trust, who help people lead safer lives. Good morning, Christiana.
Good morning.
We're speaking to a police officer early on from British Transport Police, and he said that a large number of people don't want to report crimes on public transport. And I'm trying to get my head... I think I've got a grasp on it, but I'm trying to get my head around why people would be reluctant to report things like that. Have you got any ideas?
I think there could be a number of reasons. They might be worried that they won't be taken seriously, or they weren't sure whether it was an accident or not, or perhaps they don't want to report because they don't want a partner or family member to find out, or they don't want to go to court. So there might be a number of reasons they're reluctant to report.
Isn't that... Funny's the wrong word, but I'm going to use it. Isn't that funny that they would be reluctant to do it because they wouldn't want a family member to know about it? I don't understand that.
I think it's a very complex crime if you experience a sexual assault or unwanted sexual behaviour, and sometimes victims can be made to feel like it's their own fault, and that's completely not the case. I think that's why this campaign is so important, because because British Transport Police and TfL are saying it's not your fault. The police will investigate it and take it seriously.
Do you know what, actually, I completely retract what I just said. I was saying earlier on the show, when I was 15, 16, one of my first times in London, and me and my friend, we were a little bit drunk, and there was a horrible situation with some horrible bloke who ended up touching us up on the train. And do you know what? I didn't tell my parents about it because I thought, it's my fault and I shouldn't... it's all my... It's interesting, isn't it, the psychology behind it. This campaign, it's encouraging people to report these incidents. Is a text number really going to be helpful, Christiana, do you think?
I think it will be helpful for some people want to report discreetly. It helps them report quickly. They might not want to make a phone call where they have to describe out loud what happened to them, and this way somebody can call them back at a time that's convenient for them. So I think it's a good additional reporting mechanism as well as the phone number that already exists.
Of course, I would imagine a lot of these incidents happen on the London Underground, where there is no phone signal at the moment, although that's about to change, apparently. If a woman is in a situation like this, where she is feeling vulnerable or uncomfortable or feeling that someone is doing something that is inappropriate, what would your suggestions be?
I think the important thing is to be as safe as possible, to try and get away from that person, try to make yourself aware to a member of transport staff, or if there's a British Transport Police member operating on the system, and if you can go above ground and make a report, then they might be able to pick that person up later on the journey.
Christiana, I really appreciate your thoughts on this morning. Thank you very much, Christiana Rickson from the Susie Lamplugh Trust. The text number, if you do feel under threat or you feel that something inappropriate might happen on the British Transport, 61016. 61016. I mentioned there, just going off on a tangent, if you'll indulge me, you don't get phone signals on the Underground at the moment. They're going to change that. I read in the papers last week that they're going to install things so that you get mobile phone signals on the London Underground. Are you joking? People making phone calls on the tube? Can you believe that, Catherine? They're going to put antennae in the Underground.
I thought there were security reasons why they didn't want to do that.
No, they're going to do it.
Oh.
They are going to do it.
Wow.
Diane's in Hemel. Morning, Diane.
Oh, no, sorry, Diane's gone.
Oh.
I was trying to get hold of Joe in Bletchley who rang us. Can you ring us straight back? I've just woken an older lady up.
Don't.
By accident.
Don't.
But Joe had a really good story about...
Don't boss the callers around. Thank you, Kelly.
I'm not. I'm giving her a gentle...
Don't boss the callers around. Joe, you got a call because I'm muffed up. Oh, Joe, cool. Otherwise I'll get to setting someone doing Ofcom on me. It's not my fault, Governor.
That's not my voice.
It's her fault.
Do my voice.
Hey, Joe, you gotta call us up, because I'm gonna get an Ofcom. 08459 455 555 is the phone number if you want to give me a call. Morning, Joe.
Good morning.
Joe, do you know what? First of all, can I apologise on behalf
That's
of
fine.
the BBC for the way that Catherine bossed you around?
That's all right.
That's how she speaks to you, Joe. Imagine how she speaks to me and Kelly and Justin.
I know.
That's an apology from me. That's not, and that's not good enough. Let me open Catherine's microphone.
I'm not sorry, it works.
Catherine.
Don't question my methods.
Joe. Well, Joe, what have you got for us?
Motorbike sidecar.
Have you been in one?
Very often.
Oh, show off!
Yeah, I know.
Go
in
on.
the 60s, we had motorbike and sidecar.
Yeah.
First of all, my husband was a jazz drummer. A lot of traditional jazz in those days.
Joe, a jazz drummer in the 60s with a motorbike and sidecar. I bet you've seen some things.
Yep.
Oh, good girl.
And I had to go on the back
Yeah.
because you couldn't get the drums, even in their cases, wet. Oh, no. Me, fine, that's all right.
So hang on, the drums went in the sidecar.
Oh, yeah. Great fun.
Oh, fantastic.
Kids come along.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't go out to the jazz clubs and things then because I had the kiddies to look after.
Yeah.
But we went anywhere. 3 kids in the sidecar.
Yeah.
3 kids and a cat if we went away for a weekend and took the cat with us, me on the back. Great fun.
So did you ever actually get to go in this sidecar, Joe, or did you just get to look at it longingly and think, one day when his snare and his toms aren't in there?
No, I did go in there when we weren't out at jazz clubs, when we were going away on holiday or shopping. Yeah.
What's the longest journey you've done in a sidecar?
Sorry?
What's the longest journey you've done in a sidecar?
We lived in Tottenham then,
Yeah.
and we used to go out to Epping. There was a jazz club out in, I think it's called Ongar, Epping Way. And that was a long one, especially in the winter, because you came through Epping Forest.
In
and
the
that
winter?
Was freezing.
I didn't even think of that. You were there. You were in the sidecar in the winter. Did you have? Because you had some of those sidecars. They had kind of like sort of things you'd sit in it and it would zip up. Do you know what I mean? Like it would
like
a
vinyl,
like a vinyl thing that would cover you as you sat in there. So you guess your head was sticking out.
Yeah, that would be more of a sports
Right.
sidecar.
Oh, okay.
This was a great big. The last one we had was a great big one.
Yeah.
That was more or less the length of the bike, and you could get 2 or 3 adults in that easy.
What was your husband's name?
Gordon Metcalf.
Gordon Metcalf. Is he still around, or has he passed away?
No, he passed away last year.
Oh, I'm sorry for that. He sounds like a right character. Did he ever? Who did he play with? Did he ever play with any names?
It was he played for a group, a jazz band called Eric Silk Southern Jazz Band.
Oh, what
But
great
he played on programmes with Acapulco.
Did he really?
Alan Elston, all of those.
Did he
played
really?
With the Albert Hall.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! You must have been so proud of him.
Oh, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant time.
Wonderful.
But the other lady that phoned in and said her husband sat in a box on the side of her.
Yeah, it was a chest of drawers with the drawers taken out. Yeah, strapped to the bike.
Yeah. What used to happen? It would have been attached to the motorbike properly with the wheel and all the lights and everything. But when you hadn't passed your test on the motorbike and sidecar, you had to have a box on the side because you weren't allowed to carry passengers.
so you would have it as kind of a practice of having that extra
yeah,
width.
and you had to have weight on that side, so you put bricks or blocks or something in it to keep that wheel on the floor.
Joe,
otherwise you'd go round the bend.
We've not spoken before, have we, Joe?
No.
Oh, do call again. I love that. Find out with more stories of your husband. He sounds like a right old sort.
He was.
Joe, thank you very much. Ta-ta. Oh, we're getting some brilliant calls today. We're getting lots of new callers. Wasn't she wonderful? Doesn't a jazz drummer in the 60s? Oh, I bet they had some adventures. I bet. Joe, thank you. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's been an accident on the M1 southbound just after junction 13 for Salford Road at the Bedford junction, which is causing some queues because a lane's closed. On the A1 southbound, it's very busy from the St Neots junction towards the Black Cat roundabouts, and it's also slow in Amersham on the A355 southbound from the A413 towards Beaconsfield. In High Wycombe on Marlow Hill, that's looking slow into High Wycombe, and in Cheshunt, the A10 southbound starting to look very busy between the New River Trading Estate and the M25 junction 25 for Enfield. On the train departure boards, the 8:40 service from Bedford through London to Three Bridges has been cancelled. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, Samantha, thank you. Boy, oh boy, I just had an exciting thing whispered in my ear. I daren't believe it's true. I'll find out what it was in a minute. Right now, it's 8:17. It is Thursday, the 16th of April. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. British Transport Police are encouraging commuters and rail travellers in the three counties to report sexual harassment. Arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance motorcyclists in Houghton Regis and Luton. And Watford remain in contention for automatic promotion to the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Notts Forest.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning.
Good morning.
I've only just realised from a tweet I saw, the French policeman in a Lower Low.
Oh, yes, Officer Crabtree.
He was British, was he?
Yes.
I mean, I know he's a British actor.
He was British, pretending to be French. So the good moaning, I was pissing by your window.
Dearie me.
Was the attempt to talk French.
Suddenly, it's not as funny.
What? Why?
Because I thought the joke was that he was he was just pretending to be a bad actor. That he was actually supposed to be French in a Lower Low, but he was pretending to be a bad actor.
No, he was trying to.
Good morning. Because I always thought that was quite funny.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The German bummers. I mean, it was hilarious.
But now I know that he was British in the programme, it's not quite so funny. I once saw him on Noel's house party, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he was the guest. And it was really weird. I don't know if he knew it was going out live. I think he thought it was a rehearsal. Because he did it in an English accent. He just went, oh, so we've got the police officer from a lower... Everybody! Yeah, good evening, Noel. And he just did it English, and Noel was getting really, really angry. Does anyone else remember that? It's a very obscure thing to have sunk into my skull.
I think it might have been a joke.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't, because Noel was getting really angry, and he cut it really short.
That's
it was
not like
weird.
Noel, is
he
it?
was all dressed up in character, and he did it. Anyway, we've got a guest. Sorry, I'll stop wittering. What's on your show this morning?
Burglary this morning.
Oh, hello, yes.
We won't be talking about Hello or Officer Crabtree from 9.
You'll cram it in somewhere. If there's a woman who's got a name that's connected with it.
We'll get those German bummers in there somewhere. From 9 this morning, have you been burgled? It takes on average 8 months for people to feel safe again in their home after being the victim of burglary. That's according to new research by Victim Support. The figures also show that 1 in 10 people who've been burgled resort to moving home after the crime and will receive counselling via their GP. 789,000 burglaries were carried out in England and Wales last year alone, and over a third of those questioned by Victim Support had been burgled on more than one occasion.
Blimey.
So we can conclude that burglary is unfortunately all too common and can have a devastating effect on the victim. Well, I speak, and I'm touching wood as I say this, because I just think it would be absolutely awful to be burgled. I think it must be one of the worst things ever. And I don't know about you, Ian, but when you've got a nice house and you've kind of got it all the way you want it, and you've got all your nice things in there, and you've got your nice carpet and everything else that you want, just the very thought of someone coming in, even if they didn't steal anything, just the thought of them coming in and just walking in your house, being in your living room when you're not there without your permission. But it must just feel... you must feel so violated. It must feel absolutely dreadful. And I can absolutely understand why so many people have to seek counselling, and why probably an awful lot of people decide that they don't want to stay in that house anymore. Well, from 9 this morning, I'd like your views, your experiences, your stories, please. Have you been burgled? 08459 455 555. We'll discuss it from 9.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance bikers in Houghton Regis. It comes after concerns were raised on BBC Three Counties Radio that the force wasn't taking the problem seriously enough. Well, Chief Inspector Gavin Hughes-Rowland promised to come back on the programme when he had an update for us, and he has an update, and he is back on. Good morning, Chief Inspector.
Good morning, Ian.
So what exactly has been going on?
Well, we ran a series of operations over the last 2 days in Dunstable, Houghton Regis, and just over the border into the Luton area. And we invested significant amount of resources in doing so, and we've had some really positive results.
So how many bodies were over there, and what exactly did they do?
Well, in Houghton Regis, where obviously we've spoken about before, and there's been particular concern, we had an inspector, 2 sergeants, a number of response officers, roads policing officers from our Triforce collaborative unit, a vehicle examiner, and 15 PCSOs, all committed to the operation on Tuesday, and they were all out and about from 3 p.m. into the late hours on Tuesday, dealing with these issues.
How many arrests were made?
2 arrests were made during the operation. A number of bikes, I believe 2 bikes were recovered, and Section 59 notices were issued to
What's
those
a Section
people.
59? I don't know what that means.
That essentially means that the legislation means that when we see somebody with an off-road vehicle away from the road, we have to give them a warning first to say, this isn't allowed, it's against the law. We issue them with that notice. If they're seen doing that again at any time, we're then empowered to seize that vehicle and have that crushed.
Are you happy with how it all went?
I'm very happy with it, and one thing we did notice in Luton yesterday, that there was very little activity with the off-road vehicles. Our messages were getting out, the public were really pleased to see us there, and hopefully a similar response was seen in Houghton Regis.
An email has literally just popped up on my screen. I'm reading this as it's come in. Iain, there was a big police presence in Houghton Regis on Tuesday regarding nuisance bikes. However, the so-called culprits were out in force last night, riding their bikes around the area till all hours.
We'll be back. That's all I can say. We will be back. Okay. And yes, we will miss some of them, Iain. Yeah. And unfortunately, if I had the resources to put people there every night of the week, I certainly would do. But it is a clear message from me that we're planning already through May a number of these. Okay. Unfortunately, we do need some dedicated resource to help us do this effectively, but we will get them eventually.
We spoke to a caller earlier on, Gavin, who said, listen, it was great that they came. I saw them there. Brilliant. Loads of them. And, it certainly shut a lot of people up. Why didn't you do it during half-term?
Well, the problem started before half-term, and it's not necessarily related to half-term. As you know, you were talking about the issue on your show a long time before half-term. We did plan the event very carefully. As I've mentioned, we needed specific people with specific skills to make this work effectively. Yep. And Tuesday was the earliest date we could get those in one place. The issue is an evening issue predominantly. Yes, there might have been an issue certainly earlier in the day during the school holidays, but it's still going on all the time during the evening, and that's when we planned our operation from 3 o'clock onwards.
And why did it take loads of people complaining to us for this to happen? Because this has been going on for years, hasn't it?
Well, absolutely. You just hit the nail on the head there, Iain. It didn't take loads of people complaining through your show. It's something that we plan every year. Right. Unfortunately, this year, some of the incidents have been occurring earlier in the season than they have previously. In the last number of years, we've always run a number of these operations from late April, May onwards through the summer months. It just caught us a little bit unawares first thing this year when it started as early as March. So we have had to react to it, absolutely. But I'd want to reassure the people of Houghton Regis, Dunstable, Leighton Buzzard and parts of Luton that it's not something that we take lightly, and we will respond to it appropriately.
And there's going to be more of these kind of things. Obviously, you can't tell us when. The element of surprise.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of your top weapons.
It will be a surprise to them, but I can they can be rest assured that if they're out on their bikes, they're running a risk of coming across another operation like this.
Gavin, well done. Listen, best of luck, because I've spoken to the people who this is an absolute nuisance for. Maybe we'll speak again after the next operation.
Yep, smashing in. And to say, you're welcome to come out and have a look at one of the operations if you fancy it.
Do you know what? Yeah, do you know what? That's a cracking idea. Speak to my producer, Catherine, and we'll sort that out at some point.
Super.
Thank you very much. There you go. Chief Inspector Gavin Hughes-Rowland. Because sometimes you get people that say, oh, no, I'll definitely come back on the programme. And then you can never get hold of them again. Who was the Barnfield College? We'll definitely the Barnfield Federation. We'll definitely. No, we will definitely come back on the show. And then we never heard from them again. We couldn't get our calls put through. So, Gavin, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, we will send someone out on an operation with you. Are there sidecars involved? Can I go in a sidecar? 08459 455 555 is the phone number. 81333. Start your text 3CR if you would like to do that. Catherine can't go out on that, I'm afraid.
On what?
You can't go out on that operation. You going to that fella's house with the cats?
Oh,
David?
I'm busy. When?
No. When are you when is that? Seriously, when is that happening? No, don't do the shaking of the head off microphone thing saying, actually, Ian, I don't want to talk about this on air. I know what that head shake means.
I'm just saying, no, I'm doing the head shake because obviously I have childcare commitments.
You're doing the head shake that is, I don't actually want to talk about this on air, and you're actually really annoying me.
No, that's not that head shake.
What did you mouth then?
The head shake, the head
what
shake...
What did she mouth then, Kelly?
I don't know. The head shake I do when I don't want to discuss something on air.
She said, I don't want to go there. Oh, no, you're out of order. Go to his house, look at his cats.
I think that people want to hear you.
If you do that...
it's called the Iain Lee Show. People want your take on these things.
If you do that well, I'll let you go out with the coppers on their motorbikes.
No, you're all right. I think that, again, it's something that you should be doing.
You can ride pillion. Just don't grab hold of his helmet, all right?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there are delays from the Milton Keynes South turning to junction 13 for Bedford. That's because of an accident involving 3 cars, which is causing some delays. The M1 southbound's very busy as well at junction 10 for Luton Airport Spur Road, and in Mill Hill on the A1 Watford Way, that's looking slow southbound from the Apex corner towards the Mill Hill Circus at the Broadway. In Cheshunt as well, the A10 southbound's building up from the Turnford junction towards the M25, and the A1 southbound's looking busy at the Black Cat roundabout, particularly from the St Neots junction. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, have you ever ridden in a sidecar?
Never. I would love to though.
Wouldn't it be fun? I would like to be, and I'm not in any way coming on to you.
Right.
Not after the official complaint you made.
I didn't make an official complaint.
Oh no, Sammy, this is another Sammy Bruff.
There might be. I didn't make a complaint. What did the complaint say?
Yeah. I would like to be that kind of couple that go around on weekends and motorbikes and sidecars and go to national heritage sites.
Oh, I've got some family that do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did you have to complain about me, Sammy? I thought we had something special.
What did the complaint say? I haven't complained about you.
Did I sexually harass you?
No.
It's just banter.
I think you're making it up.
I love you so much, Sammy. I love you so much. And I promise the next time I promise the next time I sit outside your house all night in my car, I will not beat the horn.
Okay, because that's good, because I'm probably trying to sleep.
Thank you.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Simon Oxley. British Transport Police are encouraging commuters and rail travellers in the 3 counties to report sexual harassment. Arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in a police crackdown against nuisance motorcyclists in Houghton Regis and Luton. And the Labour leader Ed Miliband will go head-to-head with the leaders of UKIP, the Greens, SNP and Plaid Cymru in a second televised election debate tonight.
3 Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Watford are back up to third in the Championship, just a point behind the leaders Bournemouth after a 3-1 win at Nottingham Forest. They trail second place Norwich by a goal difference of just 1. Odio Nigalo and Matt Connolly gave them a 2-0 half-time lead last night before Alman Abdi sealed the win after Forest went down to 10 men. His manager Slavisa Jokanovic.
We must be positive because we are under this type of the pressure. I believe in my team. We are enough strong for continue to play with confidence, for believing our possibility.
And the Forest boss, Dougie Friedman, says Watford were simply more clinical.
Listen, I'm disappointed with the result, so I won't mess around with that statement. I felt tonight that we had our opportunity to win the game. The difference was, they are more ruthless than us right now.
A League Two player has been banned for 6 months by the FA after biting the Stevenage captain Ronnie Henry in a match at the Lamex Stadium last month. Dagenham midfielder Joss Labadie was accused of biting Henry on the hand, his second biting offence after being banned for 10 games last season. Luton have confirmed they will appeal against striker Paul Benson's red card on Tuesday night, and Wycombe defender Alfie Mawson has been shortlisted for the League Two Player of the Year award. England's cricketers will resume on 116 for 3 in their second innings on day 4 of the first test in Antigua. They lead the West Indies by 220. Here's Jonathan Agnew.
England are closing in on a match-winning position after a familiar wobble at the top of their order. Trott avoided a pair but was caught behind for only 4, while Cook checked an off-drive and sliced a catch to Gully for 13. When Bell was run out for 11, England were 52 for 3, but were rescued by root, balance and some erratic West Indian bowling that helped the Yorkshire pair to get away. Anderson claimed the final wicket of the West Indies' first innings, so is now only 2 away from beating Botham's record. And if England can continue to bat positively, he should be running in again by tea time, hoping to both break the record and set England on their way to winning the match.
BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Text 81333.
Start your message with 3CR.
Text will be charged at the standard network rate.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Let's speak to Lisa, and then we'll have a little recap on where we are. Morning, Lisa.
Hi, morning.
Lisa, you called in about this story that British Transport Police, they're not launching a text number, they've had it for about a year, but they're encouraging people to report if something inappropriate sexually happens to them on British Transport. This has happened to you, has it?
Yeah, it did. It was probably about 10 years ago. I was coming home from London. I used to go to London quite a lot, and I was coming home on a Sunday night between 6 and 9 o'clock. Sat down on the carriage. There was no one else in the carriage. A guy got on one of the stops. He sat opposite me. I had a big duffel coat on, didn't really pay much attention. Next thing I know, within 5 to 10 minutes, I could hear a noise coming from his direction. Yeah, and I kind of looked sideways across to him. He wasn't really moving that much, but I looked at his trouser leg, and I could see that he was aroused. At that point, I just panicked and I just froze, and I was facing the window and I just didn't know what to do. So I tried to look without him noticing I was looking, and all I could hear was obviously a bit of groaning, etc., etc. This went on for the remainder of the journey for about 45 minutes. As it was all happening, I could just see a big lump in his trousers.
Okay. Lisa, I'm just remember we've got young ears listening. Is all I'm going to suggest.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. I think we have the image.
Yeah, it was pretty intense, and I was petrified.
I was going to say, how did you? You must have been terrified.
Yeah, I'm quite a confident person. I deal with a lot of people.
Why did you not get up and walk away?
I don't know, because I just couldn't believe it was happening, and I kept trying to look, and I was like, is this happening? Because I couldn't really make out 100%. What I could hear was the kind of noise every now and then, blah, blah, blah. And so I just took my duffel coat up and my hood up, and I just faced the window. And then occasionally, every 10 minutes, I would... The big thing of it, I was just petrified. I just wanted my stop to come. Anyway, got to my stop. It was one of those 6-seater things. So moved away from him, got off the stop, and there was a guy checking people coming off and on the train. And I said, look, this guy, you can see him through the window. I said, quickly have a look. I said, I'm sure he's actually doing something that he shouldn't be doing. He just found blah, blah, blah. The guy, he said, is that guy there? He goes, no. He goes, love, that's fine. He works here.
Oh, no!
Yeah. And I was early 20s, very naive. And I was like, I was shocked more than anything. And to this day, I still remember this story. And it does petrify. Now, I wouldn't obviously tolerate it. I'm a lot older. But, I just think these young girls that do... The reason I didn't report it was I didn't know who he was. I didn't get a proper look at his face. If I had reported it, I just felt at that time no one's going to really take me seriously. They're never going to catch him. And even if I could have texted, what would I have said? There was a guy, at this... I didn't have any descriptions. I don't see how a text service is really going to help find the people that are actually doing these injustices on the public transport.
Well, from my interpretation of it is that in extreme circumstances a police officer or officers would meet you at the station. Also, it would be... do trains have cameras on them?
Yeah.
They do, don't they?
They do.
So they would be able to find the CCTV of this. I use the term gentleman very loosely. They would have, been able to kind of use that to perhaps apprehend him at some point. The instant that it's happening to... I suppose that the comfort of the instant, the time it's happening to you is that they will offer to call you back discreetly, or it may just give comfort knowing you're in communication with someone.
But
I don't know.
I've had that happen to me as well, Lisa. I was a bit further away. He was around, I'd say, 3-4 feet away, and there were people in between who ignored it. And again, I was in my early 20s, and these days I may have reacted differently, but you just freeze, don't you?
You
do. And talk yourself out of it. It's not happening. You don't want to look, but at the same time, you want to check.
Yeah.
I just got off the train in the end, and these were the days before camera phones. I'm wondering now whether I would have taken a picture of him.
I don't think I would, or I don't know. I think I was.
He was a bit close to you, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was just too petrified. And then when you get off the train and someone saying, "No, love, he works here, you're fine," it's just they work there.
Doesn't that make it more terrifying that this guy was on the trains a lot?
How long ago was this, Lisa?
I was in my young 20s, about 10 years ago.
And the fact that you've told us this story 10 years later, and it's obviously had a lasting impact on you.
Yeah, it was horrible. I know quite a few people that work on, Network Rail and London Underground. So I know, I know the type of characters that work for these type. I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying, I do know quite a lot of people that work in that type of sector. So I do know what it's like, and it's a male-orientated environment, and I was made to feel a bit stupid, as if that guy would never have done that. Go on, move on, love, and that's how I was made to feel. So that's why I didn't report it. But I would just say now, if the young girl does happen to them, just make the phone call. Just don't let them get away with it. Don't worry about the text. Just do it, because if you feel that someone's done it, they've obviously done it.
Do you know what? That's interesting, actually. Don't worry about the text, because I think I would be more inclined to dial 999.
Yeah,
then send a text, actually. I don't know why I should have brought that up with the officer. I mean, hey, listen, anything they can do to reduce this and catch these idiots that do it, that's great. But yeah, why would you not dial 999?
Well, I suppose with the text you're going through to a direct service that knows that it's the British Transport Police. If it's 999, then it's the police and it gets filtered on, and you're talking about times...
You phone up 999 and you say, right, I've got this fella doing what, this fella was doing to Lisa. I'm on this train and I'm going to be... we should get into Watford in about 15 minutes' time. See you there. I don't know.
That's about having the confidence to do it while he's sitting right there.
Yeah.
We've got this. You don't believe they're actually doing it. I think that's the problem. You're always kind of 50-50 think. But obviously, if you see them red-handed, but I was kind of, is he or isn't he? Is he doing? And that's why I kept trying to look. But I did see enough to think he's definitely doing something very inappropriate. But was it enough for me to report it? I think that was another reason. Did I feel it was enough for the police to take seriously? And now I do believe it was very inappropriate. But at the time, being young 20, I was very naive and thought, he didn't touch me. He was just doing what he was doing.
How am I going to prove it?
And then the fella at the end makes it feel like, that you've made it all up.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Anne of St Albans has sent us this text through. It'd be interesting to know what you think about this one. Sexual assaults on public transport. Man assaults woman. She sees his face and reports him. He's arrested and bailed. He's on the train again the next day, possibly looking out for revenge. Would you have reported him? Well, otherwise he's going to be on the train the next day, possibly looking for something else, isn't he? I mean, that's
definitely.
I don't really understand what Anne's problem is with that. But.
Lisa, I really appreciate you telling your story,
okay,
and also
great.
I appreciate you phrasing it in a way that wouldn't upset too many younger people. No, you were absolutely spot on. I just wanted to get in before it went any. You were spot on. So thank you for that, Lisa. Thank you very much indeed.
And you know something else? The fact that we have to be careful about what we say doesn't mean that you shouldn't say it.
No.
There are so many women out there who shrug this off as just you file it under stuff that happens when you're a young woman.
The only reason I interrupted was we have the young people will be listening, young kids. I didn't want mums and dads to have to answer awkward questions. But Lisa, you got it just on the right side. It was spot on. Thank you, Justin.
Boss, morning.
That was a bit of a call. I don't know if you heard Lisa's call there. That was a story. You've taken this to the streets.
I have. I've been at Luton train station this morning, and I have to say, so many stories have come in. Not one lady I've spoken to has reported anything to the police. Not one. So we've got 3 stories coming up here again. Some of them are quite graphic. Here's what people had to say this morning. Madam, something very bad happened to you on public transport. Tell us what happened.
Well, this person put his hand up my skirt, and I was very annoyed, and I gave him a good smack. So I just got off from my seat and moved to another seat.
I mean, it must have been terrifying.
Yes, it was, because it was unnecessary and uncalled for.
Did you report that to the police?
No, I didn't.
Can I ask you why you didn't? Because that's the main point that we're doing this feature this morning. Why didn't you phone the police?
Well, I didn't think much of it. I thought it was trivial.
This is absolutely outrageous. You were flashed at on a tube in London?
Well, I was on the train, as I say. I was a bit tired, staring straight ahead, not focusing on what I was looking at at all. Could sort of see movement. Took no notice. Didn't even notice anyone sitting in front of me, to be honest. And then as I started to sort of stop staring into space and wake up a little bit, I noticed that this man was flashing me. Looked around, nobody else on the carriage. Thought, oh God, got to get off. Got off, got on the next carriage.
How scared were you?
I was very scared. Once I realised there was no one else on the carriage, I was very scared. And when I got off, I was fine then, once I got in another carriage. But I was scared at the time, definitely.
You, like every single person I've spoken to this morning, did not phone the police when this happened. What's the psychology behind that? Why didn't you phone the police?
I think because it's a flash and you think that they're not...
You didn't want to waste their time? Or?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think you think, well, they're going to think, oh, someone flashed you, OK. But I do think you do feel you're wasting time for someone that flashed you. They'll say, well, what did he look like? What tube? You know, he's got off the train now. They're never going to find him. So I did feel like it would be a waste of their time, to be honest with you.
Another horrible story, madam. You was on a train. It was late at night with your friend. And it wasn't just a man. A group of men came and sat next to you, started touching you and recording you.
I think it was like they were drunk, so I was just waiting for them to go. And, you know, I felt intimidated, so you can't just stand up because imagine something worse happens. So I just had to wait for them to get off, and they never got off. So it was like a longer journey than it should have been.
Clearly something I can tell from talking to you, which hasn't left you.
Yeah, because it's terrifying. And it makes me think twice to take the train in the evening because you don't want to experience that again.
Hang on a minute, just how many people did you speak to get those 3 stories?
Not many. Not many at all.
Well, that's dispiriting, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, yeah, I think it was about 2 years ago, actually. We went to Leighton Buzzard and we were talking to people about this man in the area who had been flashing at women, and literally within half an hour, I got enough to fill 3 slots on your programme. This morning, I probably went to Luton train station roughly at 7 o'clock. I had left by 7:45, so 45 minutes, and other people had stories as well, but those people didn't want to go on record. So a lot of people had stories. Not one person phoned the police because they thought they would be wasting police time.
I do remember that morning. Yes, you did fill 3 slots. You're absolutely right, Justin. Cracking stuff.
Thank you.
Let's change tack slightly and lift the mood ever so slightly. What's happening on your show on Saturday?
My show on Saturday, we are playing the UK and American charts from this weekend, I believe, in 1972. Requests from the streets and your chance to test my jukebox, boss. I've got the biggest jukebox in the business. Seriously.
You're such a plug.
Over 1 million songs in there. Come on and test me. But I warn you right now, you won't beat me.
Have you got this song? All right, I reckon.
What, ice cream man?
No, I reckon I can beat you.
Go on.
Have you got? All right, you ready?
It's got to be good though. Don't just test me for the sake of it.
Have you got this?
When a man loves a woman. Oh, by J-Dog. Yeah, I've got that. Yeah, on 7-inch.
You're such an idiot. Thank you, Justin. Good stuff this morning.
Cheers, boss. Take care.
Justin. No, I got to. Where is the?
Have we got a date for the Colonel? Is that what this is about?
Oh, I'd love to. Listen, I'm going to the Colonel anytime you want, fella.
Yeah, okay.
No, I forgot. Where is it? I've really got to tidy up my beds. Hang on. No, not that. Where have I put it?
Can I interrupt for a second?
I think it's just gone politically correct.
Yeah, go on.
After the show, I'm going to ask you something. And the answer is yes.
Oh, really?
All right.
Really?
Yeah. Just say yes.
Tasty.
Can I say?
Tasty.
Say what you want.
All right, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, where's the... Oh, Justin. Oh, hang on a minute. Where's the fella? Oh, this is awful. This is the worst day of my life. Hang on. Bear with me. It's going to be worse.
Okay.
Bear with me.
Run away! Run for your life!
That's not it. Hang on.
I got my bottom slapped.
No, hang on a second.
Boom, 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 boom.
Gosh, that's an old one.
You can smell memories.
No, hang on a second. Yeah, I got ages, yeah? The travel can wait a minute. This is much more important. Oh, yeah, here we go.
Good morning, sir.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there's a lane closed just after junction 13 for Bedford Road, which is causing delays because of a 3-car accident. On the M1 southbound, it's very slow for around junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road, as well towards junction 9 for Redbourne. On the M25, it's busy between junction 18 for Chorleywood and 15 for the M4. The A1 southbound's looking very slow from the St Neots junction towards the Black Cat roundabout and into High Wycombe on the A404 Martha Hill. That's looking very busy too on the speed sensors. On the train departure boards, the 904 service from Luton to Three Bridges is cancelled. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 8:46. It's Thursday, the 16th of April. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Police are promising that this week's crackdown on nuisance motorcyclists in South Bedfordshire will not be a one-off. British Transport Police are encouraging commuters and rail travellers in the three counties to report sexual harassment. And Watford remain in contention for automatic promotion to the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Nottingham Forest. Patrick, stay there. We'll get your sidecar story after the weather with Elizabeth.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. It's not going to be as hot as it was yesterday. In fact, significantly cooler. Temperatures currently at 7 or 8 degrees Celsius. There's some sunshine out there. There's also a bit of cloud, and that's going to come and go through the course of the day. But it should stay dry with just a small chance of 1 or 2 isolated showers. But temperature-wise this afternoon, we're not going to see 23 or 24 that we got yesterday, but it'll be more like 17 or 18, which is still pretty decent and above average for the time of year. 64 in Fahrenheit. Overnight tonight, lows of around 5 or 6 degrees Celsius, again staying dry, and it will stay dry and settled for the next few days. The easterly winds picking up, so it will be quite a chilly breeze. I think that will strengthen over the next few days or so, but we'll see plenty of good spells of sunshine around, and temperatures will still be just above average for the time of year. That's the forecast.
Every weekday morning.
Coming up at 9 on the Big Phone In this morning, is it a good idea to make jobless teenagers work for their benefits?
How would you like this country to stand up to President Putin? Are you surprised to see British people being blatantly racist?
The JVS Show.
I think we've got to get over this issue about racism doesn't exist. It has existed. It will probably carry on existing.
What I wanted to say is they've got this completely the wrong way around. You know, that is also true. That is also true.
You will always get some, but they are such a minority.
I think the man's a buffoon. Get him up, get him out of bed, give him a sense of purpose.
The JVS Show.
Do you think we have got to, as a country, start taking this issue more seriously?
Every weekday morning on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Lonely texts. Let's have
Texts about texts.
Oh.
Texts can be sent and received discreetly. This is about this British Transport Police initiative to get women to report sexual harassment on the train by sending a text. Caroline in Bedford says text can be sent and received discreetly. Police could meet the train and you wouldn't know you'd sent it. People are always texting while sitting on the train. And also Claire in St Albans says, remember that sometimes calling 999 can endanger you at that moment. She would have had to make the call in front of him and sit there until they got to the station. Yep. The text idea is good.
Okay.
We've also got loads of suggestions for detectives. Can
I run through the list so far?
Go on.
Patrick, David, stay there. I'll come to you in a minute, I promise. So we're looking for detectives and gimmick. Their main gimmick, and if they have a secondary gimmick, we're also adding that. We're playing detective poker today. Chinese detective, his gimmick is he's a Chinaman. Monk, his gimmick is he's on a spectrum. Poirot, 2 gimmicks. Gimmick 1, Tash. Gimmick 2, Belgium. Holmes, gimmick 1, Deerstalker. Gimmick 2, he's boring. Kojak, number 1, bald. Number 2, the lollipop. Cadfael, gimmick 1 is a monk. Detective.
Oh, gimmick 2. It was in medieval times.
Yeah, medieval. All right.
So no computers or phones.
Inch high private eye. His gimmick is he's inch high. Inspector Gadget. His gimmick is his gadget. Columbo. Gimmick 1 Mac. Gimmick 2 wife.
I can't believe you won't let me have the hunch.
We're not putting any physical disabilities unless it's Ironside in his wheelchair.
I mean the metaphorical hunch. Oh, I just got a hunch.
Detective Bergerac, gimmick 1, old car, gimmick 2, Jersey.
Gimmick 3, Mr. Lover.
Lovejoy, Spender's gimmick. Do you know what Spender's gimmick was?
I don't remember what.
2 gimmicks. I'm in Spender. 2 gimmicks Spender had. I'm going to write these down. He's got 2 gimmicks. See if you can work them out. 1 you should get easily.
Spender. He can't hold on to cash.
Oh, for flip's sake, mate. No, one is he's northern.
Oh.
And the other gimmick, and this was a gimmick at the time.
He's a brother, is he?
He was going through a divorce.
Oh.
Yeah, so he had the angst.
He was spending.
He had the angst of the divorce, and would he get to see the kids and stuff while he was solving crimes? Texas.
Jack Regan, the Sweeney in that Mark I Ford Granada. I loved that car. Still the best British crime drama, says Phil.
What's the gimmick? The car?
Yeah.
The gimmick is surely the violence,
isn't it?
Yeah. Put your trousers on, son. You're nicked.
You're nicked.
Mrs.
Columbo was a series starring Kate Mulgrew from Star Trek Voyager.
No, it wasn't.
And her gimmick was that she was Mrs. Columbo. I think it had 5 episodes before being cancelled as a bad idea, says Michael.
Guys.
Joker?
Mrs. Columbo TV series. This sounds like the best show I've never seen in my life.
But she did use...
Boom shakalak!
It's real?
1979 to 1980. Mrs. Columbo, wife of the famous lieutenant, solves crimes as a reporter while raising her little daughter. Oh, it rhymes. It rhymes.
In many ways, it's like my life.
Kate Mulgrew. Did he ever appear in it? No, I don't think...
No, he should stay out in his own series.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. If anybody can find me links for a Mrs. Columbo, that's my afternoon. Go on, what else we got?
Steve, the Burley driver, says, I used to like Beretta. His thing was an unlit cigarette. He'd puff on it when the case became challenging. He also wore a silly hat.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Columbo is on YouTube. I shall be watching that later on this afternoon. Whoa, that's brilliant!
I had a text through anonymously, but it says Magnum PI, and then capital letters, short shorts.
Did have short shorts. You could certainly see a lot there. Patrick's in Stevenage. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning.
What have you got for us, boss?
If you want to ride in a sidecar, you can come in mine.
I beg your pudding.
If you want to ride in a sidecar, you can come in mine.
Oh my! Yeah. Well, first of all, Patrick. Do you have a full British driving licence?
I do.
Do you have a motorbike and sidecar?
I do.
How many people have died in your sidecar?
None.
How many people have been injured in your sidecar?
None.
How often do you ride your sidecar?
Several times a week.
Hey. Do you get funny looks, Patrick? Because they are a rarity on the streets these days.
Yes, we do.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
If he gets in your sidecar, will he have to wear a leather helmet and goggles?
He doesn't have to wear a crash helmet. Other than that, he can wear what he wants.
He's got a hat.
Can I do it naked?
Yes.
Oh, have you... Patrick, hang on a second, hang on. Patrick.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven someone who's been naked in your sidecar?
No.
Oh, that should have been the phone-in. Ever been naked in a sidecar? Kelly?
Can I please have a go?
What?
Yes, of course you can.
She's demeaning it slightly, Patrick.
What? No.
She's demeaning it slightly.
The person who said it originally.
I'll tell you what we'll do.
Stole my
Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Showbiz.
Patrick.
Yes.
We'll take you up on that offer. Speak to Catherine. We'll sort it out.
Okay.
Thank you. Very, very. Who rides in it normally? Is it your missus?
Yes,
who is
my
it?
wife.
Now, I don't want to be rude.
No.
I'm detecting that you may be of an age, and unless you've shacked up with a 23-year-old Swedish model, I would imagine your wife is of an age.
I think I can put this over the phone. My wife's very worried about our phone number and address being public.
Oh, no, we're not going to publish your phone number and address. Don't
Okay,
worry.
then I think my wife will let me say on the phone that she's 74, I'm 79, and next month we'll be riding into Liverpool to go to the TT Isle of Man.
No, Patrick. No, Patrick.
No.
Patrick.
That is nothing for me to ride that to Liverpool.
Patrick. You're both elderly people. You cannot. I do not give you permission to drive a 74-year-old woman to Liverpool in a sidecar.
Well, she does it every year.
Oh, Patrick, listen. Speak to Catherine and we'll sort something out. How cool! Thank you, Patrick. We have had some brilliant calls. Sort that out. Huh?
Do you want to do it next week?
Yeah. We have had some brilliant calls. Maybe Wednesday. We'll something out. We've had some brilliant calls about this. Well done, the sidecar posse. I'll send you a picture, Kelly.
No, I'm coming.
I'll send you. I think you're probably doing one extra or something. Then we're busy then. David.
Hello.
David, we're going to go in a sidecar, and I'm probably going to do it naked.
Yeah, is that Watsonian?
The wind's going to blow my hair, and then I'll stop doing the handstand. Yo, cheeky.
We better not do that naked.
No. I'm David the cat owner. How are your cats doing, David?
He's doing fabulous.
He wasn't very well, was he?
He would. Oh, look! Can I apologise again to you?
You don't know us an apology, brother. What for?
No, I do. When I phoned you on the Monday, I was desperate to apologise to you. Then I didn't realise just how whacked out I was from being up with him.
How what? Sorry.
Whacked out.
Whacked out. Yep.
And you were trying to say things to me and asking me questions, and I was like, I was absolutely. My brain was on tick over. I had so little hours of sleep.
Oh, you're not your brain on tick over, no.
No,
I thought you were, but he was fine the last time we called him, wasn't he?
We didn't notice.
No, David, you were spot on last time. I think you've made it worse in your head than it was.
Well, yes, I will be like that as a person. I have to admit, I'm my own worst critic.
Yeah, I know. We all are. All of us, David. Even the most confident people, even people like Alan Sugar and Noddy Holder, the most confident-looking men in the world, they've all got a little voice in their head going, "Oh, you were rubbish then. Oh, that wasn't very. Oh, you look terrible." So don't ignore that voice, David. It's talking rubbish.
Okay, thank you very much.
Now, when's Kath coming round for a cup of tea and a cheese sandwich?
Look, can I say, please, I've got the builders in. Now, don't panic.
No.
Do not panic.
Don't panic,
remember your
Mr.
English. Yeah, don't panic. Remember your English.
Yep. Yes.
What I've said to Kelly is that in the interim, if we can meet at a coffee shop in town, and I'll bring some photos.
For a drink.
Because the place is a tip at the moment because of the builders. But I want to say thank you ever so much to the three builders, Buck, Liam and Rudy, and they've been fantastic.
They sound like an excellent boy band. Aren't they the same people that were in Big Fun back in the day? Well, David, listen, there's no rush, okay? There's no rush. The thing is, if you go out for a coffee with Catherine, she'll eat loads of sandwiches. She'll get those giant biscuits the
jammy Dodgers.
The jammy Dodgers. Yeah. It will be awkward. It will be awkward. David, we're in no rush. Kat, you're in no rush, are you, Kath?
Absolutely none.
Okay.
She can wait.
I'm in no hurry.
She can wait. Don't you worry, David. Listen, don't. Honestly, you never have to feel like you have to call up and
if you
apologise.
don't want me to come, it's fine.
But we'll sort. You want her to go, don't you, David?
Sorry?
You want her to come round at some point, don't you?
Oh, God, yes. But,
you know, because you don't have to be polite about it. If you don't want me to come, it's fine.
No, you will not hear me say those words.
Oh,
which is excellent. David, listen, there's no rush. What you haven't done to your house, David?
Well, they've pulled down a load of brickwork at the moment, and, you can imagine, and everything has to be put back.
It's a mess. When bricks come down, the mess it makes. David, it's good to hear that laugh. You're a good sport, and I appreciate you calling. You don't need to phone up and apologise. No, there's only a few callers that need to phone up and apologise. I think we banned them. Catherine, don't worry. We will sort that out.
I'm not worried.
Kelly, we'll get on that. We'll sort that one out. Right. Look at the time. It's time for a bit of trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there's a lane closed just after junction 13 for Bedford, which is causing queues because of a 3-car accident which has closed that lane. On the M25 anti-clockwise, there are delays between junction 18 for Chorleywood and 16 for the M40, and it's busy in Marlow on the A404 northbound between the Marlow junction and the M40 junction 4 at the High Wycombe Handycross roundabout. In Wadston on the A41 eastbound, it's very slow between Blackgrove Road and Hayden Road, and the A421 eastbound in Buckingham is busy around the Total roundabout. In Dunstable, the A5 northbound's also got queues between the A505 and Leighton Road, and on the trains, the 904 service from Luton to the Three Bridges is cancelled. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you, Sammy. It looks like we made it once again. Thank you to all the new callers we had today. We have some wonderful calls and some great stories. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Justin. Catherine will have a word. Until tomorrow at 6 from us, ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. It's Thursday. It's 9 o'clock, and on today's Big Phone In, Have you been burgled? It takes on average 8 months for people to feel safe again in their own home after being the victim of a burglary. That's according to new research by Victim Support. The figures also show that 1 in 10 people who've been burgled resort to moving home after the crime and will receive counselling via their GP. 789,000 burglaries were carried out in England and Wales last year, and over a third of those questioned by Victim Support had been burgled on more than one occasion. So we can conclude that burglary is all too common, unfortunately, and can have a devastating effect on the victim. Well, this morning I want your stories. Have you been burgled? Pick up that phone, come on and tell me your story on 08459 455 555.
This is the JVS Show
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'll hear from you in just a second, but first, let's get the latest BBC News. It's 9:01. Here's Simon Oxley.
The headlines: police promise to continue motorbike clampdown, commuters urged to report sexual harassment, and Watford continue promotion challenge.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Police are promising that this week's crackdown on nuisance motorcyclists in South Bedfordshire will not be a one-off. Arrests have been made and stolen bikes seized in Houghton Regis and Luton. Over 20 officers, including 2 on specially commissioned off-road bikes, took part in this week's operation. Chief Inspector Gavin Hughes-Rowland says there will be more.
We'll be back. That's all I can say. We will be back. Unfortunately, if I had the resources to put people there every night of the week, I certainly would do. But it is a clear message from me that we're planning already through May a number of these.
British Transport Police are encouraging commuters and rail travellers in the three counties to report sexual harassment. The police say they've strengthened investigations of sexual offences, and nearly 2,500 incidents have been reported since the project launched. Detective Superintendent Richard Mann is from British Transport Police.
From some of the safety and security surveys that have been carried out, mainly in relation to London